How's it going, everybody? People are going to be making their way here, of course, right as I was trying to log in, or no, send the email. I was just trying to send the text message to let people know that the show is starting. I had it all written out. It was perfect. It was crafted. It was beautiful. And I press send, and it logs me out of the service. Oh no. Timing could not be worse. Literally the worst timing possible. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna fix it. It's gonna be so good. Everybody's going to be so impressed at how quickly I can fix this problem. No, it's not working. Well, here's the thing, folks. Usually, you can text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That's Canary. It must be the word Canary to 877-740-3226. And you'll get put on the list, put on a wonderful list, a huge list, a beautiful list of other producers just like yourself to receive a text message alert when we are going live. And unfortunately, today is a pretty important day that would be happening. But it's not happening because somehow the password is wrong. So I'm going to, here, now, live in the pre-show, gonna change the password. I'm gonna change the password. I'm gonna go back to the message, and I'm gonna send it to the people who deserve it. People are counting on me, Gonzo. And more importantly, people are receiving those text messages when they go out, but they're also texting me back, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun getting text messages from the listeners of the show. Now, keep in mind, dear listener, I cannot text you back. We cannot carry on a conversation because it is extraordinarily expensive for us to do that on our side. But I can see the message. I will read the message. I will enjoy the message. And my email is not loading for me to do the thing. This is very frustrating. Come on. I had so many more important things to talk about here in the entry than this. So, that being said, canarycry.tube, http://canarycry.tube. If you go there, read it all. It is our big project, emergency project, banned from YouTube still. Please go to the Discord, go to your social media, go wherever you can go and let the world know that we are still banned on YouTube, and we hope that you find another place to watch the show. Rumble is a great option. We're trying to make progress on our Rumble, what's the word? Our Rumble algorithms. So, help us there, you know. Sorry, I'm rambling because I'm trying to send the text message. But the point is, go to canarycry.tube. You can read all about it. We are starting the project, a project we should have done so long ago to build our own future-proof infrastructure. Our own infrastructure is required because it is an election year. They are going back into our archives to find episodes that are years old, to find things in those episodes that they that they could use as an excuse, basically, to kick us off, and that's what they did. And it's a new dawn, it's a new day with Tucker going to interview Putin, which has created an entirely new atmosphere in the independent media space. And the time is now. It feels weird. It's a weird feeling in the air right now. But so what the idea is, here's the thing, folks. We have so many people who produce this show. We got the supply drop at $33.33 a month. We got the T-shirt council that's at $19.84 a month. And you know, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. That's not nothing for a lot of people, and we understand that that might be too much for what people are working with, and we wanted to make an option for people, first of all, to take the power away from the mainstream corporate media outlets, your Netflix, your YouTube, your Hulu, your whatever, all those things. Because that's what we need to do. We all know deep down in our hearts that it starts with taking back our power from those corporations. So the call to the Canarium is to pick one and cancel it. Pick one and cancel it. $9, $8.99 I think is Hulu maybe. I don't know. Pick one and cancel it, and instead use the value for value model. Gain your power back. It is about the power that you hold in the world to have things that bring value to your life exist when no corporation will do it. We, the people, are the ones deciding what survives, what doesn't survive, not the advertising industry. And if you cancel your Hulu for $8.99, go to canarycry.tube, sign up for $8.99. You will, first of all, be an essential part of keeping this show live far into the future with our own infrastructure. You will also be invited to the Age of Deceit 4 focus group. That's right, the Age of Deceit 4 focus group, a very important group of producers who will be involved in seeing clips, bits and bytes. You'll be getting it in bits and bytes before Age of Deceit 4 even releases, and then you will be asked to use your powers as a human being with eyeballs and ears to help Gons correct, perfect, and ultimately make Age of Deceit 4 the masterpiece we all want it to be. So it's not just about the money, it's also about using your brain. You are a member of this community, and we need your brain on this next phase of the thing. What is the title of this? Okay, COPESPIRACY. There it is. Sorry. Okay, just as an update, I got the text message thing open. I'm having to rewrite the text message. I'm very sad about that. But it's going to take 1 second. Then I'm sending the text message. We need you and V for V. I don't even remember what my original message says. This is very sad. Just remember, when you get this text message, it was perfect before this happened. Let's see here. 2. Future proof the show. There we go. Man. Okay. Well, the link is going out there. Remember, text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. And you can send little messages back to me. That's going to be very fun. I'm going to read a couple of those in just a moment when this ding dang text message service sends the message. Go! Oh my gosh. Everything's taking forever. Okay. Here's some text messages I got from some people. Every time y'all go live, I'm driving. I want to get active on the chat next time, hopefully. Just curious, is this about the same y'all's always start? Yeah, we try to start before noon. That doesn't always happen, but that is what we're trying to do. Hope that helps. Somebody says, hey, Basil, I hope you're getting my text. Hey, I did get your text. Thank you for texting. Somebody says, whoop, thank you, you're awesome. Hey, you're awesome too. Somebody says, radical, good riddance, YouTube. Rumble is where it's at anyways. Dame Pinky of the Sparrows. There's Dame Pinky. Thank you very much for that text. Let's see here. Hey, Basil, would you guys ever do a CCR with other truthers? Yes, of course. Casey at Enter the Stars. Call for an uprising. KJ, what's happened? I'd love to hear the conversations. Okay, yeah, we need to get some other truthers on. Of course, we will speak with them. That is what we do. All right, folks, let's get this show started. We're gonna do it. We're doing it now.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is February 12th, 2024, and we are live to tape on episode 714. And today, Dark COPESPIRACY. And signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle, I am your best buddy Basil, and you are not crazy.
Thank God I am not crazy. I feel crazy after that pre-stream.
Yeah, I know. I know. For those of the podcast listeners, you missed out, but don't worry, everything's okay now.
No, you didn't miss much. Just Basil ranting. My name is Gons, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from cold California.
Listen to that rant, folks. Oh my gosh, it just keeps going.
The gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomena. I lost my hat, Basil. I can't find my hat.
Yeah, that's been the most important thing. The most important thing of the day is Gons cannot find the hat. And I may sound sarcastic. I have this disease that everything I say sounds sarcastic, gets me in a lot of trouble. But it is actually very important that Gons wears the hat, and the hat is missing.
I'm pretty sure I know where it is, but I could not get to it at the moment. So
okay, well,
it's okay.
You can send a child. That's what the children are for, are they not? Little delivery drones. Go get the hat, little one.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know about a 3-year-old or a 6-year-old operating heavy machinery too much, but.
Oh, it's in the forklift. You left your hat out in the excavator in the backyard.
In the field, yeah. Excavator, forklift,
where you were digging
backhoe.
Your bunker.
Yeah.
Man, I would love an excavator. If anybody out there has an excavator and knows where I can get an excavator, maybe somebody wants to donate an excavator for tax purposes or something, I would love an excavator. But that's for another podcast. Gons, we are still banned on YouTube. No YouTube. The YouTube is dead for now. We'll keep everybody updated, but the long-term plan is to evade the need to rely on YouTube altogether. So we are not currently rushing out to start a new YouTube. Instead, we have the very important URL, which is also an abomination to common sense, and that is the URL canarycry.tube. Canarycry.tube, very important. Go check it out. You can read all about our problems and our solutions over at canarycry.tube. We've made some very good progress on that project, but I really do want everybody to go check that out. Especially if previously, supporting the show for, joining maybe the Supply Drop or the Babysitters Club or the T-Shirt Council is all something not in your reach. I'd encourage you to check out canarycry.tube because it's meant for everybody. Okay, but first, Gons, let's get this show started. Let's hit that disclaimer just for old time's sake.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up,
YouTube. That's right, and just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. That's right, Gons, and let me give you a rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
Big weekend, folks. Big weekend, big Monday. But, of course, the big game happened, and we cannot avoid it. But first, we're going to be talking about old hairy legs himself. Some big updates on Joe Biden, his status as a human being. What does this mean for his presidency? What does it mean for our country? But, of course, Dark Brandon arises once more. We'll be looking into how the media is handling all of that. But then, of course, Flippy update. Flippy's in space again, and this time he's flippier than ever. And no doubt, the responsible listeners of this show watched the Tucker Carlson Putin interview. Here's what we are not going to be doing, which is giving a play-by-play of the entire 2-hour interview. There's enough people doing that out there, and honestly, you need to just watch it yourself. There will be some comments, but more than anything, what is the response? What is the big play at hand, and how is the world a different place after that stunt by non-journalist Tucker Carlson? Of course, we'll be checking in with the alternative media industrial complex, Alex Jones and David Icke, getting into it. This is the type of thing we need, to stay integrous as seekers of the truth. It is no longer just the corporate legacy media that we need to scrutinize, but the alt media industrial complex, unfortunately, has shown itself to be just as susceptible to shenanigans. And we will continue to keep an eye on everybody. Gons is going to be getting biblical with some biblical prophecy and some current events regarding Milei, the new president of Argentina. And then at the end of the show, of course, shapes of planets and maybe a cruise. It's very important. Don't go anywhere. But first, Gons, our lead stories.
Oh, I'm already tired. We haven't even started. Exhausted.
Today is a strange day, Gons. It is a very strange day. I feel spiritually it's an exhausting day in general.
There's just so much happening over we've been doing our shows Monday, Wednesday, not Friday, and then coming back on Monday. So between the end of Wednesday and the beginning of Monday, it's just jam-packed with craziness. But we'll try to make sense of it here. Starting off with our friend, our president, Hairy Legs Joe Biden.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Hairy COVID.
This is coming from CBS News. Headline: White House to require assurance from countries receiving weapons that they're abiding by U.S. law. I love this. This has been the last couple of years of revelation. It's been an apocalypse, the revealing. Things have, the veil has come down on so much of the infrastructure of our governments and our military-industrial complex. It's just interesting how the narrative just shifts, and the things that they do out in the open is a little more upfront. So it says here, the Biden administration will be requiring countries that receive weapons from the U.S. to provide, quote, credible and reliable, end quote, written assurances to the State Department that they will use those weapons in accordance with the law of war, according to a national security memorandum released Thursday. So yeah, they need a handwritten note to Joe to make sure, promising that they won't do any hanky-panky with the artillery and the weaponry that they are being.
A note from their parents. Yeah, they need a permission slip. Right. And this is not the biggest story of the day, but it is a big story that is being sort of buried. It's being a little distracted from. As you know, there's a lot of other stuff going on, and I think a lot of people missed this story, which is, we've known for years. It's been reported originally by CBS, and CBS got canceled for reporting it, but it recently has been re-reported that, some humongous percentage of the weapons and cash going over to Ukraine, for instance, just as an example, is not making it to the front lines, and there's been questions. Surprisingly, I don't know, this probably has nothing to do with it, pure coincidence, timing lined up with the Merchant of Death, Victor Bout, the Lord of War, being released in exchange for Brittany Griner, the most famous, arms dealer in the world, who made a profession out of diverting things like gifted weapons from a war-torn area to sell them and make billions of dollars. Weird how he gets released in exchange for Brittany Griner, of course, WNBA star, and then all these weapons start disappearing. I'm not saying there's a connection. I'm just saying the timing was relevant.
As an example, there's a long history here of U.S. weapons reaching all over the place. It would be funny if the handwritten note was like, little parentheses, like, yeah, give the weapons to Hamas or something, just a little fun.
It's hilarious because previously when this problem was being asked of the government, they say, don't worry, we're assured. Like sometimes they would say, Zelensky told us. Like, no, they said that things are going where they need to go.
They promised.
Yeah, and this reveals here that it's true. It was all just sort of a wink and a nod, a handshake, a deal. Don't sell these to terrorists. You promised. The fact that we previously have not required it to be ink on paper, that all the weapons and money we send overseas does not end up in, on the black market. The fact that it's not been required is horrifying. It's kind of like how the FDA limit on the amount of human feces allowed in our food is not 0.
Right.
When you realize that the limit of human feces allowed in our food is not 0, it kind of disrupts a lot of your thoughts about how the world works. And in the same way here, the fact that nobody was signing a piece of paper saying we won't divert weapons and ammunition and cash to other causes, let's just say, has been pretty traumatic for those paying attention.
Yeah, it says that the executive action applies globally to more than 100 countries that currently receive American arms and aid, and adds a new requirement that an annual report be sent to Congress. The U.S. provides billions of dollars of military assistance to Israel each year, which some progressives, like independent Senator Bernie Sanders, have argued makes the U.S. complicit in civilian deaths. So yeah, I remember that from Bernie.
Which is not bad logic.
No, it's not. I mean, you can totally make the argument. It says here, quote, this is an opportunity to be transparent with the American public about what the standards we require countries to adhere to are and how we go about obtaining assurances that they'll be met, the official said. The memo requires written commitments from more than 100 countries that receive U.S. weapons within 180 days. So you still have 180 days to do whatever you got to do, and then
that's a lot of days.
And then you can give him the note. So yeah, we won't give this to rogue rebel groups or mercenaries to carry out some stuff for us or you. Those in active conflict, including Israel and Ukraine, must respond within 45 days. See, this is Joe flexing his American merchant muscle or something, like, hey, we got to keep in mind who's the boss here. The arms dealer is the boss. If the president doesn't receive those assurances, the U.S. can cut off assistance. That I wonder if that is even a possibility. Do you think that this could happen? Is this an out for Biden to make him look good? Yeah, like, hey, we get it. We gave Ukraine, Israel, we're giving them too much money. We're giving him an opportunity to tell us exactly what they're going to do with it on paper. Hey, they didn't give it to us in 45 days. We're going to cut off the funding. And look, we answered your call, American people.
Oh, it's obviously funding. Not. Yeah, it's not going to happen.
No, it's not. I'm not. It's a very big hypothetical. But yeah, at least
or maybe it's a reason. Maybe they're looking for a reason. Who knows? There's no way of knowing. Is kind of the top and bottom of it there.
I love this quote from Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland. He said in a statement, until now, he talks about the U.S. security of assistance. Until now, that was based on sentiment, not substance. Yeah. The whole agreement, as you were saying, that it's literally, there was no substance behind these agreements. It was just, it was a sentiment.
Yeah, wow. It wasn't not even an official agreement, not even a gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, they seem like good people. Hey, we sell them some weapons. They seem like good-hearted, people of the world.
I'm getting the impression that they're not going to give this to terrorists, and that's what we want.
Yeah, they showed no indication. Well, did you ask him? No, we don't need to ask him. It's a sentiment.
Why would we? That would be humiliating for us to ask him to not fly all these weapons down to Africa. That would just be embarrassing. We're not going to do that.
Yeah, I think it gets into some more nitty-gritty of the Leahy laws, which prevent the U.S. from providing weapons or funds for military assistance to groups when there is credible information indicating the groups have violated human rights. There's a lot of presuppositions right there. Credible information, who determines that, indicating that the groups have violated human rights. Okay, someone's got to define the human rights and then, have to prove with credible information that it was violated. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
However, former Senator Pat Leahy, a Vermont Democrat, said that the past administrations have waived application of the law to the Israeli Defense Forces. It really goes into Israel, which is interesting, the CBS News report, always in the context of Israel nowadays. And then it goes into all the Israel stuff here, so we won't have to dive into that. But yeah, this is Joe Biden, and Joe actually, I think, posted a thing on X that said, yeah, we're going to make him put it down on paper now. And it was like, oh, great. Good job. Good job, Joe. Working hard. That's not the only thing. Yeah,
Big
good moves. The transparency of our government, our federal government, and the military-industrial complex. Thank you for allowing us to peek under the hood. Okay. And then there was this other thing. This is a document that was published by the Justice Department, the U.S. Department of Justice Special Counsel's Office. It was published on February 5th, and it is the document that outlines Joe's, I don't know what to call it, handling of classified information.
His own classified whoopsie daisies. The boxes next to his Corvette in the locked garage. I don't know what everybody's problem is, but okay.
Yeah. So this is a 300 some odd page thing. There's a lot of people picking parts that are relevant to modern conversation. But there was nothing really new. It was all the stuff about he collects things. He's been known to collect things as a politician and blah blah blah. But the big thing was that the reason why, what is his name? Is his last name Her? The guy who wrote this. Let me double check. There's a signature here. Robert
by
Her,
the way,
Robert K. Her, yes, special counsel.
This included depositions. This included investigations. This is a long process here. It's not just a sort of opinion about Biden, but it is a years-long process by the special counsel to investigate Biden's handling of the documents. Of course, we've all followed Trump's wild antics handling documents and his locked closets and his safe and all those sketchy places, apparently, where documents don't belong. But Biden's had his own sort of fun with the practice.
Yeah. So basically, what it comes down to is that Robert K. Her is suggesting that while Biden did not handle the classified documents in a legal way, to prosecute him in any way would be kind of pointless because of his memory limitations, more or less. And let's see, did I have an article for this?
Well, I didn't see if you had one. I did have, there were some things floating around. NBC News, a nightmare. Special counsel's assessment of Biden's mental fitness triggers Democratic panic. Everybody's panicking about that. Let's see here.
Yeah, because
Forbes. Here's how Biden's memory has faded, according to the special counsel.
Yeah, so that was the thing. It was that so I saw all kinds of reaction to this. A lot of the left Democrats were just saying like, this is the same kind of thing that happened to Trump, and you can't. What was the point? What was their response?
I don't know. What do you?
My brain is going in too many different directions.
I feel like you're kind of missing a few of the things here.
I am. I'm trying to come up with them.
Through it?
I had it in my notes, and I can't put it together.
Now,
I'm pretty flustered today with all this stuff.
Take a second. Take a breath. Let your buddy Basil. I'll start walking down. and you can jump in whenever you got your brain together. Here's the thing, folks. This is being covered top to bottom on alternative media across the world. It has been almost entirely taking up the time of the alternative media industrial complex, which we'll talk about later. Of course, there's been some great talking points for establishment Republicans and sort of the system as a whole. And worse than that, the mainstream media has been focusing on it sort of overwhelmingly. It's been very interesting, and we'll play some clips about how the mainstream media is finally sort of sighing dejectedly and kind of getting on board with this idea that Biden is too old, kind of ignoring the fact that this is all done in the context of, oh, he can't pay for his crimes. He can't stand trial in front of a jury of his peers because he's too old and forgetful. I am also kind of trying to find the articles, articles written about this. It is sort of a labyrinth. It's a labyrinth of details that are being left out of some, included in others. You can really see how the mainstream media is trying their best to tiptoe through the situation in sort of it's like they've been training for this their entire lives. How do we report the truth in regards to Biden? Now, I'm going to take actually this Washington Post here. Let me send you this link here, guys.
Yeah. While you're doing that, so the
It's
big
in the private
point here
chat
was,
for you.
yeah, let me grab it. So the point being that Biden's mental state or lack thereof was the reason why they don't have to, or her doesn't recommend charging him, which
That's the
is an
lead, yeah.
admission. Yeah, and then what the mainstream's reaction is sort of admitting to the fact that this is the case, which is probably setting up for something else.
Yeah, of course. Real quick, just for those who may not have heard it, which would be an incredible feat at this point. This is coming from Washington Post. I threw you that link there.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Where did you put it?
In the private chat.
In the chat.
The headline says, Biden's memory is hazy and poor, says a special counsel's report raising questions about his age. The long-standing concerns about President Joe Biden's age and memory intensified on Thursday after the release of a special counsel's report investigating his possession of classified documents. The report described the 81-year-old Democrat's memory as hazy, fuzzy, faulty, poor, and having, quote, significant limitations. It noted that Biden could not recall defining milestones in his own life. Quote, he did not remember when he was vice president, forgetting on the first day of the interview when his term ended. If it was 2013, when did I stop being vice president? That's what he said. And forgetting on the second day of the interview when his term began. In 2009, am I still vice president? The report said. He did not remember, even within several years, when his son Beau died. While Biden will not face charges for mishandling classified documents. There's the key, and thank you, Washington Post. While he will not face charges for mishandling classified documents, the report's assertions about his memory could undermine Biden's message to voters that he can manage the government and safeguard the country. Voters are already going into this year's election with severe misgivings about Biden's age, having scrutinized his gaffes, his coughing, his slow walking, and even a tumble off his bicycle. Oh, WAPO, bringing that back up. Why you got to bring up old stuff, WAPO? In ruling out a prosecution of Biden over his retention of highly classified materials as a private citizen, the report suggested he would seem too feeble to prosecute. Quote, it would be difficult to convince a jury that they should convict him. By then, a former president well into his 80s of a serious felony that requires a mental state of willfulness. And that's the horrifying part, suggesting he does not possess a mental state of willfulness, which is a wonderful sort of confirmation for everybody making the point that he is not in control. He is not, that just does not have a mental state of willfulness to answer for his crimes. The same crimes, by the way, of course, that, are hanging on the back of Trump like a wild monkey with a sharp stick. The White House pushed back on the characterization of Biden's memory in a February 5th letter from the president's lawyers that was published in special counsel Robert Hur's report. The letter argues that Biden's, quote, inability to recall dates or details of events that happened years ago is neither surprising nor unusual, particularly about when certain documents were packed or moved. Quote, we do not believe that the report's treatment of President Biden's memory is accurate or appropriate, the letter said. Quote, the report uses highly prejudicial language to describe a commonplace occurrence among witnesses. A lack of recall of years-old events, such as comments, have no place in a Department of Justice report. So, boo! Hey, don't be mean to Biden. He totally should stand trial for... You see the strange rock and a hard place they are stuck in here. Because on one hand, it is his mental inacuity that is the excuse for not prosecuting Biden. By the way, with Hillary's emails, this is kind of coming up a lot in the conversations. It was a similar thing, like, we're not going to actually charge Hillary because who's going to charge her? She's kind of an old lady with a server in her basement. Maybe it's unlawful, but nobody's going to actually convict her. So now we have two major Democrats getting off the hook for committing crimes in sort of plain sight, getting caught for them, but just finding a reason not to press charges. And this has put Biden in a strange place. Hey, I'm not going to be convicted because I'm a silly old man. But hey, I'm not a silly old man. I want to be president, and I want to be president again. So very complicated. Now, of course, the media has been absolutely hanging on to this, grasping, and it's very strange to see how mainstream media is not necessarily defending Biden. I think we have a couple clips. You want to play a couple clips?
Yeah. So this first one is from ABC Good Morning America, Mary Bruce, and there's an introduction and then the meat of it here. And we grabbed these clips from the No Agenda show.
Yes.
So just
no need to re-clip them. Thank you, No Agenda, for your show notes.
Yep.
Mary, the president angry last night.
In fact, George, I don't recall the last time I saw the president this angry. Biden furious and frustrated, ripping into the special counsel for questioning his memory and recall in this hastily arranged press event. The president doing a little bit of damage control as his legal exoneration now threatens to become a political liability. Overnight, President Biden defiant, defending his handling of classified information and his memory, firing back at special counsel Robert Hur after he declined to prosecute the president, but raised questions about Biden's mental acuity.
Their task was to make a decision about whether to move forward with charges in this case. For any extraneous commentary, they don't know what they're talking about.
Biden, well aware his age is a top concern for voters, defending himself.
That's
your memory has gotten worse, Mr. President?
My memory is not gotten. My memory is fine. My memory, take a look at what I've done since I become president. None of you thought I could pass any of the things I got passed. How'd that happen?
The report concludes the president should not face charges, saying Biden would likely present himself to a jury, as he did during our interview of him, as a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. The special counsel describing Biden's recollection as painfully slow and his memory hazy, writing that Biden did not remember even within several years when his son Beau died. That conclusion clearly striking a chord.
Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, it wasn't any of their damn business. I don't need anyone to remind me when he passed away or if he passed away. How in the hell dare he raise that?
Bad words, naughty words. He's resorting to cursing on live television.
It's kind of sad.
The anger,
whole thing is sad.
Yes, and again, the anger is the saddest part because, again, those who have dealt with family members with dementia. This is a huge part of it. The short temper, the anger, he's in a deposition interview about a crime he committed. And he's saying his answer is, I don't know. I don't remember when my son died, and it's none of your business. Okay. Okay, Grandpa. I think it's time for a nap. It's nappy time.
Yeah.
So this has everybody in a very strange spot where he is simultaneously benefiting from his mental state lacking willfulness and trying to convince everybody that he's top notch and there's nothing wrong. It really is, A, it's devastating politically. B, it is just devastating to watch it happen. He's the admission that he is not in a mental state with his own willfulness, that he's, any decision he is making is not coming from a place of sound mind, which leads you only to confirm that so many of his decisions are not being made by Biden. And indeed, did we get the clip from the about the Gaza Mexico thing?
Yes. Well, we have the continuation of the report here from Mary Bruce that included that, I believe, here.
Okay,
Biden clearly frustrated as his age comes under increasing scrutiny.
Mr. President, for months when you were asked about your age, you would respond with the words, "Watch me." Many American people have been watching, and they have expressed concerns about your age.
That is your judgment. That is your judgment. That is not the judgment of the press.
And defending his decision to run for re-election.
I'm the most qualified person in this country to be president of the United States and finish the job I started.
After 13 months of investigating, the special counsel determined there was evidence Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified materials from his time as vice president, but that he should not be prosecuted because the evidence does not establish Mr. Biden's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. But the president pushing back, denying the report's key findings that he held on to classified material.
I've seen the headlines since the report was released about my willful retention of documents. These assertions are not only misleading, they're just plain wrong.
Still, the president welcoming the news that this case is now closed and emphasizing that the report lays out the stark differences between his own case and former President Trump's handling of classified material, that Biden fully cooperated with authorities while Trump did the opposite.
I cooperated completely. I did not throw up any roadblocks. I sought no delays.
Now, moments after defending his memory, the president mistakenly referred to the president of Egypt as the president of Mexico. He did later get it right, but look, the president clearly knows that while legally this may be over, politically, this report can still do him some damage, and that obviously angers him and is something, George, that he's trying to get ahead of.
Oh, makes him angry, all right. Makes him super angry. Super duper angry. I told you that we were going to see Joe Biden. He's been talking the truth.
Armageddon's on the way.
And it's happened, Basil. The rise of
Dark Brandon.
Yeah, Dark Brandon's back. He's back. And, Dark Brandon is so obscure at this point and happened so long ago. I think just for those who need reminding, this is a meme on the internet that has lived a full and exciting life, that has traveled a labyrinthian path through the internet, being sort of invented and then co-opted and then co-opted again. Brandon, of course, being the name from the "Let's Go Brandon" chant.
Yes. Yeah, that's
from
the
NASCAR race, where the whole crowd is chanting something else derogatory about Biden, and the reporter hears "Let's Go Brandon," and then so "Let's Go Brandon" became a coded dog whistle on the internet for far-right extremists about the president.
Biden. Yeah.
And then Dark Brandon was a meme that originated on the right, because the left cannot meme. This is known. History will show that the left cannot meme. The right, however, meme experts, meme commandos. And they invented Dark Brandon, which is sort of a satirical version of Joe Biden, who is competent, who is powerful, who is, has a plan, who is sort of executing a conspiracy, these types of things. That was originally what Dark Brandon meant. There is also a version of, I think, Dark Trump. And the image associated with it was Joe Biden smiling with the contrast turned up, looking very spooky with red glowing laser eyes. And this, for about a month, lived as a sort of right-leaning meme on the internet until, in some stroke of genius, the left, who cannot meme, decided they will no longer try to create their own memes, but they will co-opt the memes of the right. And they co-opted Dark Brandon as a way to sort of state that, yes, Biden is competent. Yes, he does have a plan. And
I think it's. I think they're saying that. Biden, Joe's incompetent. We get it. He's losing it. You're right. He's not really under control. But Dark Brandon is under control. Like the real Joe Biden is Dark Brandon.
Well, that's the scary part. Okay, so that's the review on Dark Brandon. And yes, you are referring to the official Joseph Robinette Biden X account, the official verified Joe Biden account, last night at
I'll give you the exact
evening.
time.
I think it was 8 o'clock at night or something.
Where is this thing here? We got reactions here. 7:50 p.m. West time. That's Pacific time. February 11th. Yep.
Yes. So Western time. So that was midnight. That was like 1 a.m. Is that? Yeah, about 1 a.m. in the morning. On Eastern time, which is where the president resides.
No, 7:50 p.m. So it was like 10
on the
10:50
West
PM.
Coast.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you're sorry. I'm sorry. My math is bad. So yeah. There's 11 o'clock.
Evening. Yeah.
11 o'clock at night, which is obviously past
Everyone's
Biden's.
getting done with the game. Everyone's whatever. Super Bowl aftermath. Everyone's. This must have. A lot of people were probably filled with guac and beer. And then they open their X, and all of a sudden, Joe Biden is Dark Brandon.
That's why it was so bizarre.
Crazy.
It's because Joe Biden went to bed, and then Dark Brandon rose in the dark to tweet this. And it's very bizarre. The president of the United States. Now, I am just loving the responses to this X post. I mean, some of the obvious ones are like, I thought this was a parody account, but oh my gosh, And then there's people, leftists, who are like, Joe, there is a genocide in Gaza. What are you doing? Why are you... Let's see, Sabby Sab, sick to post this after Israel is slaughtering children. So the right is absolutely entertained, of course, by this, but also it's very, very peculiar. Now, a lot of the people who are defending this post by Biden are saying it's because of the right-wing conspiracy theory that the Super Bowl was rigged so that Taylor Swift can make everybody vote Democrat, which is not, that is the left's creation of a right conspiracy theory. Nobody until the mainstream media and the left got a hold of it. Nobody thought that that's what it was. There may be separate theories about the Super Bowl being rigged. There may be separate theories coming from the Pentagon who said they would make Taylor Swift a PSYOP asset. But it was the left who actually put this all together and said, look at this crazy right-wing conspiracy theory where Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl will make you vote for Biden. Whatever. It shows the lack of creativity on that side in the first place. But many believe that this X post with Dark Brandon and the words "just like we drew it up" is sort of a troll to the right about whatever, planning the Super Bowl Taylor psyop thing.
Well, that plus maybe like a 5D chess narrative where it's like, see, the right wing, they bought into the Dark Brandon, but really we prompted you to react that way.
All is going according to plan.
Right, all is going according to plan, yeah.
Which is absolutely tasteless and also, honestly, more disturbing than... It's very disturbing that the president of the United States, from his official account, has obviously an intern or a media, manager or something doing this, and that they thought it would be a good idea. But it also gives the impression of like all the other stuff going on. For instance, him being deemed incompetent to stand responsible for his crimes.
Yeah. Yeah, it just gives him a green light to just do whatever. It's like, he's mentally unfit.
Because it's so non-specific, it feels like they're taunting the right and just everybody, not even the right, but, independents, people who are suspicious of Joe for all sorts of reasons. It doesn't feel like it's directed toward the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl thing feels like a cover or cope by people on the left. Like, this is so like Joe. This is Joe, our just really funny president guy. He just loves to troll. And the Super Bowl Taylor Swift conspiracy theory, he's really getting them. But considering the timing on the special counsel report and being deemed incapable of standing trial and yet, being the president of the United States, it just is, it is really, really concerning to me. I want to find it funnier than I do. I really want to find it much funnier, but I'm having a hard time doing it.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about chaos magic and you think about this as a sigil that's going out and trying to gain reaction and whatever energy, spirit of people or whatever. It's very unsettling. It's like, whoa, what are the
very
folks
unsettling
behind the curtain saying by just letting this roll out? It really is kind of like a Weekend at Bernie's type of thing. I know people reference that film with Biden, but I mean, it's like a digital version of that where they're just like, they get to just create this caricature of whatever and just go with it. And again, maybe this whole thing is so that Joe can really appeal to the youth in the next few months, because it's not going to be him doing any of the talking or campaigning. So
that has to be a huge part of it, is an appeal to the youth. Now, of course, the special counsel report on his inability to stand trial is raising questions about the 25th Amendment. Fox posted, Hawley says Garland should invoke 25th Amendment if DOJ declines to charge Biden. One or the other, meaning, if he's incapable of standing trial, that means he's probably incapable of being president. And somebody needs to make moves on this. At the same time, you've got Real Clear Politics coming out and saying Democrats call for 25th Amendment against Trump. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe the whole idea here is to take down. They want like a new crop, the youth, to get political, and to do that, you got to take out both sides. You got to take out the old sort of Trump conservative MAGA thing, and you got to take out the old whatever Joe represents type of liberal Democrat thing.
Pure chaos.
And just pure chaos. And then whoever steps in can become, or at least appear to be, some kind of calming force, a savior type of force. A lot of Michelle Obama talk going on, the typical Newsom type of stuff. But there was some footage of Trump and Vivek doing some events, and Vivek was looking pretty VP. So we'll see how that all continues to roll out. But this is weird. It's a weird time. This was not on my bingo card, Basil, that Joe Biden would tweet out or post laser eyes, which of course this also, just as a talking point about appealing to the youth. Red eyes like this on Twitter X represents Bitcoin eyes. And it became a meme a couple years ago, 2021, when everyone thought Bitcoin was going to $100,000. Everyone started changing their profile pictures with these red eyes.
Right.
And so I think that it kills two birds with one stone. You know, it's got the dark Brandon. It's got, hey, crypto bros, what up? I'm a Bitcoin to 100K, Joe Biden, you know. Because, hey, you can say that in his speech or something like, hey, Bitcoin. I'm still waiting for Joe to explain Bitcoin. I'm waiting for that clip. Somebody to just ask him, like, how does Bitcoin work, President Joe Biden?
Yeah. Well, I mean, interestingly enough, I think the vagueness of the dark Brandon popping up and that connection to Bitcoin, I mean, Bitcoin did have a little bit of a run last night.
Yeah.
I mean,
we will
topped
probably
50,
hit 100K this time around.
It topped 50K this morning. Like, it
already
did
passed
happen.
50K?
Well, yeah, I mean, it bouncing, but it hit 50K at one point this morning. So, you know, it is an interesting, again, to the chaos magic thing. It is blatantly sort of a version of online chaos magic, which you've seen perfected in the past decade. And you know, that those types of things can have a lot of different effects. I mean, it can have some unexpected effects, hence the name chaos magic. So maybe the Bitcoin run was a part of that.
Well, and now that I think about it, we had this could not have happened likely before BlackRock started getting their hands on some Bitcoin. I think they are on pace to control like 10% of Bitcoin or something if they keep buying at this pace with their new ETFs. So within a month, they start, you know, they're already trying to take control of the network. So it's very interesting that it's post BlackRock getting involved with Bitcoin that all of a sudden the president's posting laser eyes
to
the masses. Very strange.
It kind of continues, Gons. You and I were speaking before the show and off air that like last week, really, it was a very rough week for us personally. It was a very strange week for independent media. There was an obvious, immediate response to Tucker and Putin, which we'll talk a little bit more later. And it's sort of like we woke up, I think it was Thursday morning or Wednesday morning. It was Wednesday morning. Woke up Wednesday morning to almost an entirely new sort of spiritual atmosphere in the world. And that just continued through the weekend, in my opinion. And then with this Dark Brandon posting, it's just getting weirder. Like, it feels different. I don't know if anybody else out there feels it, but like the spiritual atmosphere of the state of the world has shifted in a strange way. I can't quite claim to put my finger on it, but something's going on. So we're kind of trying to stay on our toes here and be ready to pivot in whatever way the Lord, whatever path the Lord lights, we will follow in the footsteps that he wants us to go in. Maybe I'm feeling flustered because it's you know, when the Canary starts singing, it's about to go, you know, they're about to go down. Something's wrong. And they're about to keel over. So maybe that's what's going on here. It could just be some carbon monoxide poisoning going on here in the Canarium. So anywho, make sure to go to canarycry.tube to learn how to help us out of this one, folks. All right. Well, with that gone, should we take a second?
Let's talk about how it's Monday.
Gary.
Yeah.
What day is it? Monday. Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
That's right. It's Monday, folks, and okay, here we are. We're doing it. We're still moving. We got up, and we're going to work today, Gons. Still kicked off YouTube, everybody. I'm sure everybody has figured that out. We're trying to make sure that any YouTube stragglers who inevitably will send us emails and be like, why'd you guys stop doing this show? Where'd you go? We really would prefer to not hear that anymore. But if you know where any YouTube people are or exist, please tell them, no, we did not stop doing the show. We have other places. Join the newsletter, all that kind of stuff. Because we're here, baby. And this is a critical moment in the show and in the community, which all of you are a part of. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about?
I mean, there's some other stories that really didn't make it into the show that I wanted to touch on, but I don't know. It just feels a little out of turn right now, so I may not do that. It's just
I know the feeling.
We should just thank some executive producers and
I will say
talk
this
about the main stuff today, because we got some there's some big sort of eschatology related things going on. So
yeah, we've got important stuff to get to. But I will say, very serious about sort of feeling the strange spiritual atmosphere going on. Gons feels it too. I will say, last week in the show and in the newsletter and stuff, we were trying to communicate clearly with everybody that this really is kind of not only a strange turning point in history in this election year, from the purview, the perspective here of the Canarium, and keeping an eye on mainstream media and the memes and the spells being cast all over the media. This kind of stuff is all very strange, very serious, trying to keep a good head on our shoulders here, but also a very difficult time in a lot of different ways. The spiritual warfare has been very intense, I'd say, the past 8 days now. I count 8 days, maybe even 9 days. And you may have seen some of that reflected in the emails or the social posts or anything like that. And, we're not trying to spook anybody. We're just trying to be honest about what's going on over here and a lot of stuff behind the scenes. And we just want, to make sure that everybody knows to keep the whole Canarium in their prayers. We need prayer more now than maybe ever, and this has even been reflected in some of the notes we're getting from producers as well. Like, it's not just about how Basil felt waking up this morning, but I think a lot of people are feeling it. So prayer is our most powerful a tool, of course. We know this, and so let's not just know it, but let's act like we know it. I think it's interesting in the timing of Friday's episode on Army of God, Spiritual Warfare, the whole thing. Hope you guys enjoyed that interview. That interview was recorded sort of before the worst of things started coming at us last week. So the timing was even stranger. Either stranger or, makes total sense either way you look at it. Yeah. So that was interesting. And it kind of feels like a time for the whole community here to really be on guard and to be active in their spiritual warfare and their prayer life and things like that. And
appreciate all the producers who reached out and have plugged in various different capacities. We appreciate it. And I've been trying to get back to everyone, and I know there's a couple that I need to get back to ASAP with stuff. So I'll be messaging folks. So
I will say this:
people stepping up.
Yeah, now more than ever, it's pretty incredible to get your guys's missives, your emails, whether you're offering to help with stuff, or you're just telling us you're praying for us, or you're just sending us stuff you're noticing. It's all very valuable. In times like this, it's important to stay hooked into the body of Christ, and thank you for helping us do that. And with that, I'm going to quickly and succinctly tell you about canarycry.tube.
Yes.
Yes, an abomination of a URL. Sorry about that. It's just one we had laying around. And as for sure we've all known now, we got kicked from YouTube again. We're still in the appeals process there. It looks like, I went and I listened to the episode we got kicked for. Very interesting, because it was one of the first times that we had pontificated about the theory that mainstream news personalities were leaving the mainstream to infiltrate independent or alt media spaces, and how, you know, that happening on a broad scale could be sort of a strategy to spoil the well of independent or alternative media. That was an interesting take on that episode, especially in consideration to the extremely recent Tucker Carlson stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally playing out maybe how we had forecasted, I would say. Not predicted, but forecasted.
You know, I get it. We got a lot of people defending Tucker Carlson to us. You do not need to do that.
No, it's fine.
No, you don't. We get it, but we're just saying, you know, we saw this theme, this pattern of mainstream media people leaving or getting kicked out or something of independent media, and then immediately taking root. Leaving mainstream media and then immediately taking root in independent media. And, you know, we had a theory like, hey, if this starts happening enough, like this is really going to blur the lines between independent and mass media and corporate media. You do this enough, you get enough mainstream people coming in as independents, that's a takeover. That's a mainstream takeover of
You just got to look
media.
at the money. You got to look at the cash flow as sort of the bloodline, so to speak, and you can see it move from these huge conglomerates into the distributed space.
Yeah,
so to
and
speak.
Tucker Carlson is, of course, a big example of that happening. We're not making any, not putting ink on paper about what we think about Tucker.
Tucker was wearing that red bracelet. I don't know.
It's true. He's
had it on for a while.
He wanted to be the CIA. Putin himself said
Putin called him out.
He said it's a shame that they didn't take you, or you're lucky or something. So there's always been a strange connection between CIA and Tucker. But anyways, it was just kind of ironic that was the episode that got kicked immediately, responding to the Putin interview with Tucker.
It's a very useful episode to get rid of because it's sort of the trad. Don't want to give it away. Trad can get rid of us, and then also sort of the alt op.
Yeah,
people could be
almost
like, no, get rid of this. Get rid of this.
It's almost like stop questioning Tucker or something. I don't know.
The mainstream.
It was
weird. Stop questioning our baby that we just sent out into the wild to take over, to conquer. Yeah.
Anywho,
all right.
Wow, really got off track there. Canarycried.tube, you can read all about our current problems and the solutions. It's become clear now. We knew that this election year was going to be tough. It immediately was way tougher than we expected. It's become clear that, through the value for value model, we need to become independent of the big platforms. Not to say we're going to totally disconnect from the platforms, but we need to start hosting ourselves because it's so easy for them to get rid of us. This is something that all independent people will need to start doing eventually, and we're going to start doing it now because they will stop at nothing to keep Canary Cry in the dark. I mean, even Rumble, unfortunately, people are saying that they're getting unsubscribed from us on Rumble, that they're, sharing with friends, and the page is 404ing. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Rumble is our safe space right now, but there's just some weird stuff happening.
And it's still, as far as I'm concerned, it is still a centralized service.
It is a centralized service. We are still at the whim of whoever's at the controls, and we've been seeing some okay growth there, but it's kind of suspicious just how steady it is. It's like literally 10 people, it's exactly per day is like 10 people will follow the channel, no more, no less. No, and it's very reminiscent of the YouTube caps.
Yeah, like early days of YouTube censorship. It was very subtle, but you can sort of feel the ceiling. You can feel the firmament forming above you.
And plus,
we
got
you in. Yeah,
producers are telling us like, I don't know, it just unsubscribed me. I didn't. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we need to go. We're doing it, taking the next step, full independent, building out our own infrastructure.
Sovereign media.
Becoming sovereign. Ooh, that's a cool way to think.
Might be a way to, because independent, yes, but sovereign is more than just independent, isn't it?
So here's the thing: there's so much wrapped up in this. It's very hard to be succinct. So I'm just going to give it to you as straight as I can. We have a goal, and we have in the past, we have made options for people to become a monthly producer of this show. There's 3333 for the supply drop. There's 1984 for the T-shirt council. That is too much for some people, and we understand, and that's why kind of we're doing what we're doing here. We want to make an access point for everybody at every sort of level to be able to join the team in a meaningful way. And so here's the plan. It's time to cancel one of your streaming services. Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, they hate us. They hate us for our God. They hate us for our beliefs. They hate us for our sovereignty. They hate us for a lot of reasons. They mock everything we hold sacred, and they have a stranglehold on our minds that is difficult to let go of. And they're, advertising to you, even though you pay them subscription services. So we are calling upon a new group of producers, a new group that has not felt like they have been able to join previously. I just canceled my Netflix, and I should have done it a lot longer ago, but I just did it. And producers just like you and all around the world, this is the call. We need to take action V for V style. When we pay subscriptions to corporations that hate us and everything about us, it is time we take away our consent of them. And our subscriptions are consent. So I'm calling on producers, as many as you can, to cancel one of those services, and then go to canarycry.tube and sign up for the exact amount. Whatever you canceled, you don't need to do more. You can even do less. It's a choose your own adventure type of situation. But whatever you canceled, whatever you took away from Disney Plus, commit it to the infrastructure that we are trying to build here. A sovereign, decentralized, censorable infrastructure for this show, and who knows, maybe even more shows. And I pray that the Lord blesses anybody who does this, because I understand that it's a sacrifice, not just in the money of the subscription, but also, it's a sacrifice not being able to just pull up Netflix whenever you want and just zone out for a little bit. So whatever you cancel, go to canarycry.tube, sign up monthly there, make sure to hit the monthly box, and in return, you will get put in the Age of Deceit 4 focus group, where you'll have access to 15-minute chunks of Age of Deceit 4. Gonz is working on it now. We are harnessing the power of the Canarium to focus group the film so that it can be as good as it can be when it gets released. It's taking a lot of mental pressure off of Gonz, in that previously you just make a film and put it out there and hope people like it. It would be ludicrous of Gonz not to take advantage of the absolute treasure trove of valuable opinions from the Canarium. So you will get to see bits and pieces of that early. Take your survey, make your thoughts known so it can be perfected before it gets released. It's a very important gig, I believe, and that's what's going on at canarycry.tube. I know it's a lot of different things put together, but it's what we got right now, and the pitch will perfect itself as we go. And we had some people who signed up for that, Gonz. I want to give some shout outs for people who signed up at canarycry.tube. Ready?
Let's do it. Actually, give me 1 second, because I want to make sure that I thank them properly and formally on the thing. Okay. Yes. Go for it.
By the way, people who sign up to be in the focus group, they will be credited at the end of Age of Deceit 4 as well. That's a fun thing. All right, I'm going to run through the list here. As it appears publicly, with 5 anonymous donors. 5 anonymous people. Some of them came in with one-time amounts. Some of them signed up for their amount that they canceled Netflix. Thank you very much to the 5 anonymouses.
All right.
We also had Sir
That
Igorius.
was it. I didn't know that was a thing. Okay, 5 anonymouses. There we go.
Yeah. No, I don't think we need to do a full thing like this. I don't think we need to do a full. Well, because we're gonna do regular stuff in a second. I just want to list the people who came in at canarycried.tube, and we'll thank them. And it's kind of separate from the episode producership. Okay. We also had Sir Igorius, Knight of the Squatting Slavs. He showed up.
Thank you, Sir
Igorius. And his everything was public for him. He came in for $210, a one-time amount. He says, "Keep up the good work." Thank you, Sir Igorius.
Yeah, appreciate that.
We also had Dame Sarah came in for 100+ fees. Thank you very much, Dame Sarah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had Ernesto Q came in on a monthly sign-up, I believe.
Ernesto. This is all written on the thing. I can just look at that, huh?
It's right there. Okay. That's what I'm saying. It's on the list. Yeah. And then Jimmy M. Jimmy M came in. Thank you very much, Jimmy M.
Still cute, Jimmy M. Thank you.
So that's we made it 10% of our goal in like 4 days, which is really good.
Not bad.
And we'll keep it going. It's going to take a few hundred people doing this. And so I really hope that some people are inspired. Canarycried.tube. This is specifically everything that goes through there goes towards that project. So we hope you enjoy that. Okay, now let's thank some executive producers.
Executive producers.
That's right. We're on the value for value model, folks, which means we don't take any money from corporations, commies, or cartels. If you get value, put value back in with your time, your talent, or your treasure. It's a revolution. It's anti-beast system. And we thank our executive producers who come in for $100 or more for any individual episode here at the top. Ready?
Yes.
Starting with, you know him, you love him. It's Sir Alex Protocol V2, Knight of the Breen Protocol.
Oops. Hold on. One more time.
Oops.
Whoa, there we go.
That's right. Came in with his $100.33. He also produced last episode, 261 episodes in a row, 59 executive producer streak.
59.
That's right.
There you go.
Thank you. Next up, a weekly regular here. We've got executive producer Sir Jamie, not the Lannister.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you, Sir Jamie.
Yeah, he came in with a very supportive note. We are in contact. Thank you so much, Sir Jamie. Really appreciate your involvement and your commitment to keeping the show alive.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And that's it for executive producers of this episode.
Okay.
We've got, let's see. Yeah, I'll save the rest for later.
Okay.
Thank you very much, executive producers. And remember, folks, if you get any value from this show, go to canarycried.support.
Yep.
Canarycried.support.
Alrighty. Yep. Are we doing Flippy?
We're doing Flippy, bro.
Okay. Flippy, where are you?
Short little Flippy.
There you are. There you are, Flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Time for the Flippy update, folks. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, and how there's nothing we can do about it. And Flippy, as we know, is in space in many different forms. Flippy in space. I think we had a Flippy in space jingle before. We might track that down next time. This is an update from QualityDigest.com. GITAI, autonomous robotic arm arrives at the International Space Station. Ooh. GITAI USA Inc., a leading robotic startup, announced that its 1.5 meter long autonomous dual robotic arm system, S2, successfully arrived at the International Space Station, ISS, aboard the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket to conduct an external demonstration of in-space servicing, assembly, and manufacturing, which is acronymed to ISAM The success of the S2 tech demo will be a major milestone for GITAI, confirming the feasibility of this technology as a fully furry operational system in space.
That would make sense.
Yeah, you know, all these flippies look the same. They're kind of like shiny, white, smooth, sort of, you know, arms. They should just start putting big, like Burning Man-esque pink fur on the outside. It's space. Like, why not have a little fun with it? The S2 is a robot. The S2 is a robot that embodies the essence of GITAI's robotics technology, incorporating the same fundamental technology used in the company's innovative inchworm robot and lunar rover. During the demonstration, the S2 dual robotic arm system will be mounted externally to the ISS on the NanoRacks Bishop airlock and will perform in-orbit services, including maintenance, inspection, and life extension operation for satellites. So this is the second Flippy that's been sent into space by this company. And S2, this one has 2 arms. Very impressive. Double the flavor, double the fun here with Flippy. When one arm just can't fix your space station, get 2 of them up there. We did follow the first one, the S1, very big deal. That happened in 2021. And here we are, just a few years later, we got double. And I think, if I remember correctly, my beef the first time was we're replacing even the need for astronauts. Now, It's a complicated topic, especially when we're not even 100% sure that space is real or that anybody's past the firmament or whatever, you know, odd video anomalies going on in the NASA.
No, we'll find out later. We'll find out that the science is starting to catch up to a flat earther. We'll get there, but yeah.
Yes, we will.
Very strange.
As we know with the Flippy update, it's more about the propaganda, the narrative that's being sold to human beings to, you know, open the gates to letting them essentially replace us. And in this case, I think the beef I have again is that why even send humans to space? You know, you think about astronauts, you got your astronaut, he's the mechanic guy, and you got the other astronaut, he's the science guy. And then you got the girl astronaut who's like good at karate or something. And you get the team together and you go up to the space station. But now, you know, I mean, maybe before there would be like a robot as kind of like a quirky sidekick. But the message I'm getting here is like, we don't even actually need humans in space. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need to do any maintenance. I mean, it's really morphing the astronaut as a job into like professional tourist, you know?
Yeah.
If you know what I mean? Which, look, I'm not against being a professional tourist. That is something I would consider as a career if that ever presented itself to me. But it's hard to inspire a generation about space travel and stuff when no human is needed. It takes away the accomplishment. It's taking away the dream. It's, you know, when nowadays more astronauts are just people who paid $250,000 to ride up in a tourism rocket and not an actual highly specialized person who represents some sort of pinnacle of achievement for a child looking up at the stars, much like our, you know, space plane song with Richard Branson.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see children born even recently, but in the near future, that the idea of becoming an astronaut would be not even really a thought. Why would a human go up there?
Why would humans do this? We got the robots. They're better than us.
The kids, they're not going to want to be astronauts. They're going to want to be TikTok influencers. And again, if you don't see why that's a danger to humanity, then I don't know what to tell you, friends.
Yeah, the whole concept of becoming obsolete. And it really is interesting how it's a terrifying idea that the jobs are being taken, as we have in our Flippy update, you know, tagline. But when it comes to, the so-called final frontier and the need for humans being less and less, mostly because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
The only reason is for
which is
tourism,
worse.
like you said, but also
This is for your safety.
most people's experiences of space will become virtual anyway, like through the robots,
Right.
And to actually go out there, you'd have to probably be a transhuman. You got to change your biology a little bit to be amongst the robots.
If you're gonna radiation,
if you're gonna up the robots
anti-radiation
now,
gene upgrade.
if you're gonna up the robots, you got to have genetic upgrades because you got to be tougher than them because they can withstand the elements, and also smarter than them. So you got to be tapped into your own robots.
It does
to fight them
imply
or something.
It does imply that they will need a robo wrangler in space.
Yeah.
And that really gives a whole new ring to Space Cowboy. I mean,
They really should bring back Cowboy Bebop because it's starting to turn into reality.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos up there with his cowboy hat. He's got a lasso and just riding some robot off into the horizon as it descends back into orbit and catches a flame.
We've been showing this video looping of the GITAI, and on the bottom right, in very small letters, it says "Actual flight model, no CGI included." So,
Sure.
Very impressive. Because I did think like, oh, this looks fake. This looks like CGI, but apparently it's the real deal.
Great.
Real footage. Beware. So there you go. All right.
Well, there's your Philippi update for the day, folks. Keep the dream alive, kids. Don't let the robots take everything we hold dear. And that's your Philippi update for the day.
Very good. And hey, you know what? I bet you these flippy robots are going to make a bunch of people very wealthy, if they own a little flippy coin or something. And, these robot machines are able to make their own work, so it'll be like a universal basic income provided by the robots working in space.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. What are we doing? We're doing Tucker Russia. That's interesting. Russia. Okay, so yes, the past weekend started with the Tucker Carlson interview dropping, and it was a big deal. I sat through the whole thing. You were in public.
Thursday was when it dropped, and it was hilarious because it dropped. You texted me. You're like, "Oh, Putin interview's out," and I had already had it pulled up, and I was sitting in my dentist's chair. I was at the dentist.
That's bold. You don't know. Do you know if your dentist is like a Republican or a Democrat? Because that would determine whether I play this thing out loud. But
new dentist. I have no idea what this person's deal is, but I had my headphones in, which you do at the dentist to try to distract from the torturous noises going on inside your head. Had my headphones in, but the Putin interview dropped in video on Tucker Carlson's website first. So I didn't have like the podcast version. So I had the video open in the dentist chair, just listening to it on my headphones. And my dentist did not necessarily comment. There was a like, "Oh, what do you got?" I'm like, "Oh, it's just, the Tucker Carlson Putin interview." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And I don't know if she was into it or not, or what she thought, but I will say at the end of it, she did say that I needed to get a root canal. So I'm going to get a second opinion on that to make sure. I was going to say,
maybe, make sure that wasn't some kind of metaphor for your politics, you need a root canal, meaning you need to get your conspiratorial right-wing MAGA mindset and get it out.
Root it
out from the from the depths,
the MAGA
of your
or
skull.
whatever from your So I listened to it in the dentist chair, and interesting.
Yeah, I was walking around trying to do family things while listening to it, and I had it in my ears. I'm not subject my children to this type of thing yet. But yeah, listen to the whole thing. It was one of those, and we won't go through like Basil said at the top, we're not going to go through, hit by hit. The first hour was just Putin talking history, which, compared to dark Brandon, listening to a politician speak history about their country is something else. Of course, Russian history is a little longer than U.S.
Unstoppable.
History, but yeah, it just keeps going.
As, the comments have been made over and over, the mainstream was hilarious because they, of course, even those in the mainstream who were like kind of supportive, the sort of like lamest takes were those who were like, it was 2 hours long and they just talked about history.
Come on.
Can't believe they just talked about history. It was so boring. It's like, yeah, I get it. You are
You're on
an
TikTok
American
all day long, and then you have to sit through an hour and a half interview. It's like,
not only are you
time?
Jealous of Tucker Carlson for doing actual journalism. We'll get to that. But yeah, your American brain just could not handle context. What he was giving you was historical context to the Russian point of view. And it's no surprise that context and history would be poisonous to the American mind, because at every turn in the mainstream, we are constantly prodded to ignore context, ignore history, ignore the broader picture for the finer, more minuscule, more narrow-minded point du jour, the opinion of the moment that is supposed to exist outside of any context. Of course, the American mind would like writhe and itch and like not be able to handle the idea that their enemy will have a point of view that they can explain to you. It really flared up the worst symptoms of the American mainstream mind.
Yeah, and it really shows how the mainstream is they highlight unnecessary nuances with everything and create stories out of it. And we've had that for so long. There was, and I say this not to defend Putin or defend Russia, but it was a refreshing moment in that I think it's the first time, I was telling you this before, Basil, the first time in a while where it felt like, and I don't know that this is truly the case, but it felt like everybody stopped what they were doing and they're like, we got to sit here and listen to this conversation, this hour and a half conversation. I think it had like 50
event.
million views in a few hours.
A worldwide event where it dropped and you knew that there were just millions and millions of other people listening to it at the same time. It was very interesting.
It was a very interesting alt media moment as well. This is sort of the I would say, I don't know, coming of age. This is sort of the what, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for, where it's like a signal, it's like, hey, we're here. It's like the
it was
alternative media industrial complex has entered the building.
Overtaking.
Big bang.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's Mario Kart, and the alternative media like actually pulled ahead.
They hit the accelerator.
And then
the accelerator pad and just zoom past everybody.
Mainstream media just like they shot a banana forward and slipped on it themselves.
Right. So
little Mario Kart reference there for the kids.
yes. For the kids, people our age, we were playing Mario Kart as kids. I guess they still do now, but so the mainstream actually, like you said, had a sort of a different response to this. I do have a Slate headline here, which was everything that was wrong with Tucker Carlson's Putin interview. And it's your typical, I'm not going to read it. It's kind of your typical thing. It goes into a lot of nuance about
give a little
what
vibe.
left out.
We got to give a little vibe,
It is legitimate in principle for a journalist to interview a murderous dictator. The uproar over Tucker Carlson's announcement that he would interview Vladimir Putin was that the session would amount to pure Kremlin propaganda. Carlson, after all, is an admirer of Putin who, in his days as a Fox News host, hoped out loud that Russia would win its war against Ukraine. It was also feared that Putin would spout a stream of lies and that Carlson, who is not a real journalist,
there it is,
much less a historian, would be incapable of pushing back.
Oh my gosh.
So, incapable of pushing back to Putin's nonsense.
Stream of lies. You know, Hillary Clinton, what did she call it? Packet of lies.
Packet of lies.
Putin, you know, Tucker wouldn't be able to resist Putin's packet of lies. This is like Putin's packet. What are you trying to do, Hillary? What is this?
Yeah, I have some clips here of, well, no, actually, once again, we did get this from the No Agenda show. Might as well play it for everyone here because it's just so well done. It is a mashup, a supercut, as they call it, of Tucker is not a journalist coming from the mainstream media. And it's, you know, it's what you'd expect.
He is not a journalist. He is not someone that you need to take seriously. In fact, he's someone who there would be no reason to take him seriously, so he cannot be held liable for the things that he says. So to try to couch what he's doing right now as supposedly being about journalism is absolutely ridiculous.
But Tucker Carlson is going to be there and be the journalist that none of us are.
Actually, Tucker, you are not in journalism. A long time ago, sure, but these days, you've been in the propaganda business.
And I say, yeah, journalist in quotes.
Yes.
Am I allowed to say his name?
Yes, I'm just...
His name is Tucker Carlson, and he is the only American journalist who has been able to interview Putin since the invasion in 2022.
Tucker Carlson is not a journalist, not even close.
Why he's doing this interview now? Obviously, for the Kremlin, it makes sense. If they want to talk, it's a friendly voice. But we will keep trying our best to actually commit journalism.
Some of us, Tucker, have already decided you are literally the worst media figure imaginable to be doing an interview with Russia's Vladimir Putin. You have no journalistic credibility. None.
I mean, he's like a puppy dog.
I find it gobsmacking terrifying too, Allie. And it's sort of like we talk about, you know, disinformation on social media. Well, disinformation from people like Tucker Carlson.
Yeah. Tucker Carlson is lying from the streets of Russia, no less.
Oh my gosh. It's kind of sad. Like, it's when you see it all together, when you hear it all together, it's sad how afraid they are and how impotent they feel, because you can really sense that what they're really feeling is like, oh my God, Tucker Carlson this is huge. This is like a really big deal. That should have been me. It should have been me.
That is probably part of it. Yeah, that's probably part of it. And that's why I am a little bit skeptical about the whole operation, because of the uniform reaction is one thing, and I get it. It speaks right into the right-left paradigm with the, you know, conservative liberal divide, and it plays into that. But he was sort of chosen in a sense to be the one to go over there and actually get a sit down, because I'm sure a lot of journalists in America have been trying, even big names have been trying to do it. So
I saw some BBC journalists were claiming that they had tried to get, but okay. So I actually, to be clear, did not see or hear any American journalists who claimed to have tried. There was BBC journalists who had claimed to have tried, but you know, BBC is state-run media. It's state UK media, which, like, okay, I mean, I don't know. I guess if I was Putin, I would be pretty hesitant to talk to somebody else's
UK state
media. But
yeah. Oh, did I lose you?
No, I just didn't have anything else to say. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough because we don't know, because we'll never know. We'll never know the extent of Tucker, the whole Tucker thing. But if indeed Tucker is legit in everything he says, this is obviously a huge deal for independent or alternative media, but there is still a level. Yeah, he was allowed to do it, even with all the NSA spying. He said the U.S. government had stopped him before, and that they were spying on him again. Somehow he was allowed to do it. He was not detained. He was, I think, allowed back in the country, and then much less, you know, he was allowed by the Kremlin to come in. So there was an allowance for sure. Something allowed Tucker to do this.
Because because Tucker talked about his signal being basically surveilled, and he ran into somebody in D.C. that knew about the conversations that were taking place. Yet it still happened, which means that, again, he was allowed to do it somehow. I don't know what the level of escorting he got, the level of, hey, wear this, wear this wire or whatever, wear this bulletproof vest.
Yeah,
I
I
have
want to
no
know
idea,
if he had his phone on him or something. You could see how the CIA or something would hack his phone and put like a
tracking
listen through the phone or some sort of surveillance through the phone. But certainly the Kremlin just would have taken Tucker's phone or something.
Yeah. And now Tucker, there's probably a video that the Kremlin has of Tucker going potty and stuff like that could be used against him if he doesn't abide by the wishes of Putin. Okay, so there was obviously a lot of response, a lot of thought about stuff going on. Putin said some funny things. He had a couple zingers in there. Didn't clip him, but if you are interested, you should go listen to the full conversation just to create your own opinions about it. I thought there was just to note, Putin made a reference to the Philistines as sort of the mainstream corporate type of apparatus, which he does that a lot, I think. He calls the people his enemies, so to speak, as Philistines. He also called out Tucker Carlson, as we mentioned earlier. It was in the context of the Nord Stream pipelines, and basically Putin was saying the CIA blew it up. And was telling Tucker, like, hey, it's a good thing they didn't accept you, because he's like, to my understanding, you applied to be in the CIA and they rejected you, and they were kind of laughing at him. He was kind of laughing at him, like, ha ha ha.
There was a moment in there that really struck me, because we know Putin, he was what was the KGB before? Was it KGB or was it? Anyways, KGB. For our purposes, we'll call it the KGB. He was a KGB guy. He was just a, ground level KGB agent. He worked for decades in the intelligence agency. I mean, he had a whole career of being a KGB agent, like Cold War style, old school. Yeah, foreign intelligence agent. And there was a moment where he said, the CIA, I'm going to be just paraphrasing here. He's like, the CIA, they were always our enemies. And you could kind of see him like yearning for the old days of just being a KGB agent. He's like, the CIA, they were always our enemies. And, but what would we be without them? Like, we needed them as much as they needed us. And he said, a job's a job, what are you going to do? And he's like yearning for a simpler time when he was just a KGB agent and, the CIA, the KGB, and constant locked in war with one another, chasing each other in circles. And he's just like, it was just so interesting to see. I mean, honestly, Putin as a special character, it was interesting to see him, but really any world leader just kind of like seem like he had lived a life before the theater of being a world leader. It was just very interesting to watch.
Yeah. Now,
a job's a job.
A job's a job. There was a response from what you would call, or what we've been calling, the alternative media industrial complex. And it's a loose word. It's something that we're actively keeping track of here. And as part of this conversation, David Icke did an hour and 45. I don't know why all the things were like an hour, 40 minutes this weekend, but this Infowars.com debate between Alex Jones and David Icke was an hour and 45. The Putin thing was like an hour and a half. It's just a lot of content over the weekend popping out. But basically, David Icke has been on this mission to call out what we call the alternative media industrial complex. David has his own name for it. It's called MAM, M-A-M, Mainstream Alternative Media. I think our name is a little bit better, but what are you gonna do? And of course, David Icke, for those of you who don't know, our friend Chris White made a video a long time ago. It's probably been 12, 13 years now. It was called David Icke Debunked. And basically, David Icke in the 90s had this spiritual experience on a trip. I forget where he was, Peru or somewhere, and he was on a mountain and he felt a charge in his body, and he was given a message that he is a chosen one, and that he would help the world move and transition into this new age. And he's on. Before all this happened, he was like a news anchor or sports anchor or something in the UK. And after this experience, he started talking about truth and all this kind of stuff. He's he was even earlier than Alex Jones when it comes to truther type of stuff, calling out governments, calling, that kind of thing. And part of it, to be provocative, he was on these talk shows and stuff. And he was saying how he was Jesus, which of course is quite the proclamation to just say that you're Jesus. And so anyway, Chris White made a whole video debunking the David Icke message, so to speak, his whole spiritual message. And so keeping that in mind, in this in this context of today, in this debate between Alex Jones and David Icke, what we have is David Icke defending, so to speak, independent media, or I guess sort of a more old school throwback truther type of thing. And he's trying to call out the new establishment, or this new alt establishment, Alex Jones being one, and Elon Musk. Obviously, the conversation gets into Elon Musk quite a bit in this debate, but it started with the Russia-Putin or Putin-Tucker conversation, because obviously Tucker comes to X because of Elon's free speech thing. And then all of a sudden he has an interview with Putin, and now all he sees on his timeline probably are these conservative types, these truther types, praising Putin, right? Like at least saying like, oh, Putin speaks truth because he echoed some talking points of the right or whatever. And so David Icke is pointing out all of a sudden overnight, Putin is somehow this hero, and it's all under this guise of free speech, and it's all a co-op, and that's his message. And what frustrated me with this debate was Alex Jones not really understanding or trying to play naive to David's points. And look, I don't agree with David on his whole sort of new agey message, but on this particular debate, I am more in line with what David is saying, in that, hey, Elon is using this idea of free speech because it's clear that a blunt infiltration only works so much, and it would make sense to do that first with the progressive liberal, do that blunt, in your face, try to take over type of thing. It only gets so far, because the majority of the people lean towards conservative values. They value family, they value community, stuff like that. So now that you have the counter revolution, you get a technocrat like Elon Musk, get everyone to buy into, hey, I'm buying X. I am doing it for the purposes of, maintaining or preserving free speech in the country and the world. And you get all the conservatives jump on board with it. They're all stoked about Elon. And then, slowly, you get the brain chip stuff. And so it's a little more divisive. And so it's just interesting how he's seeing the same kind of things we're seeing. And, I would agree with him on that. But then, of course, from our point of view, with David Icke, it's like, hey, you need to follow Jesus, David. Don't follow your little Kundalini spirit that spoke to you that you're Jesus, that you are Jesus, like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever. So there's a big difference in the ultimate message going on. However, it is the tactic of divide and conquer. Just looking at it from the spiritual perspective is very fascinating. It's the same sort of get a crowd riled up, get everybody to identify as something, and then the nuances start breaking everybody apart into little silos of different opinions on an issue or whatever. And this seems to be the case as well. But I really didn't like how Alex Jones pretended like he didn't understand what David was saying. He would give him some credits every once in a while of like, oh yeah, I agree with you here, or I agree with you there. But,
do you have an example of one of the things he was playing ignorant about?
I didn't have the time to clip stuff. I would have, and maybe that's something that I should have done.
Because, we've seen Alex do this recently. I was trying to remember. I made a comment about this in recent episodes.
Yeah.
It was about
It was, well, he did the whole Trump is Antichrist, Elon might be Antichrist a few weeks before he was let back on X.
Oh,
And
yeah.
when he was
No,
let
that's
back on X, he did the Elon's free speech defender. Trump's going to, he's got to restore freedom, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's
Did the
old
180.
stuff. That's old stuff. There was one
Uh-huh.
recently where he was, I think it was maybe about like the Smith-Mundt Act or something, where he was like, "Oh, I didn't know about this."
Oh, yeah.
This,
Yeah.
you
we
know,
did that too.
it may have been that. I can't remember what it was, but we commented on it recently. So I don't know. I don't think that he doesn't know about these things. I think he's just kind of trying, because he's never necessarily been known as like an interviewer. I mean,
he's been
of
a
course,
ranter, more of a
yeah,
ranter.
of course he's interviewed people or had people on the show, but it's much less of like, let me see what I can plumb out of my guest, and more, more sensationalizing everything. David Icke versus Alex Jones in a debate. What a strange, even that just kind of has like a strange spiritual atmosphere around it, does it not?
Right. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's the same feeling I get with politics, where you don't really agree with either one, but you kind of take a side on an issue in a debate context, in the bubble of the debate. You can be like, oh yeah, this guy made better arguments, or arguments that I agree with more. It's very political in that sense, or the framework of it is similar to politics, because it's issue based, not necessarily whole message based.
Ike recently kind of reminded me of us a little bit, in that he was kind of freaking out about Brett Weinstein. There was a moment there where Brett Weinstein made everybody mad because he described something wrong as far as COVID,
the lizard
and
people or something.
How that all came to light. And then David Icke came out with a rebuke of Brett Weinstein going on Tucker and was like, "I've been looking into this stuff for 30 years. You don't know what you're talking about. I knew about COVID before anybody knew about COVID. I've been devoting my life to this." It was specifically something about COVID.
Uh-huh.
And,
probably the global
kind of
lockdown type of idea.
It humbled me. It humbled me a little bit, because I'm like, we didn't talk much about it because our turf is not necessarily all the drama going on in alternative media. But people were freaking out at Brett for some stupid reason. But then I heard Ike go off on him. I'm like, oh boy, I hope we don't sound like that. I don't want to sound like that. That's not fun.
Well, it's funny because during this conversation between David Icke and Alex Jones, Elon Musk came up a lot. David Icke was freaking out about like, oh, you guys are all supporting you. All of a sudden, you guys are all Elon supporters, and he wants to put a microchip in your brain and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, Elon was not on the call. Elon did not join the call, but maybe he did. There was a gentleman named Adrian Dittman who called into the debate. This whole thing feels so staged, Basil. I'm going to play a few seconds when this alleged Adrian Dittman joined the spaces. You tell me who it is. Hold on. I messed that up. Okay, you tell me who this is. Actually, there's a little setup from the guy, the producer guy.
Go with Adrian Dittman. Adrian, go ahead and unmute yourself and say what you have to say.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that David Icke, complains of, being connected to the hive mind, even though he already is. I mean, you're right now speaking to thousands of people simultaneously, which is a selective hive mind, via a piece of tech. It's just not integrated into your brain. That's the only difference. As for Wi-Fi fields, do you think that the internet is a simulated reality pulled over our eyes, or just an interface? Because it's
he's saying we're already in a false reality. Sorry, I'll shut up. He's saying we're already.
Okay, yeah, they go on and here, and Alex budges in. But yeah, I think that's Elon Musk, Basil. I don't know, my ears might be deceiving me, but that sounds like Elon Musk on a burner account calling into the debate.
I think it's a voice clone of Elon Musk. It certainly was Elon Musk's voice, but Adrian Dittman, I just did a quick search for Adrian Dittman, and it gave me an AOL.com page where it's mirroring The Independent from July 31st, 2023. I've got Elon Musk dying. Voice clone baffles tech billionaire.
Oh, okay. So there you go. Maybe it was a voice clone.
So it sounds like this Adrian Dittman is attached to voice cloning. Here we go. Elon Musk has questioned reality after speaking with a man with a voice that sounds exactly like him. The tech billionaire took part in Space's events on X, the company formerly known as Twitter, that he purchased last year. Also taking part in the discussion was Adrian Dittman, whose voice and laugh sounds remarkably similar to Mr. Musk's. Quote, that was next level, Mr. Musk posted on X following the encounter. During the 8-minute interaction, the X owner frequently questioned whether Mr. Dittman was a real person or an artificial intelligence voice clone. Quote, my mind is literally melting out from my ears right now, Mr. Dittman said. This is a fully recursive psyop. That's what this is. We are the simulation. I literally put out a tweet saying, hey, we are the Matrix, like we make our own things real. I don't want to break the Matrix. I want to reshape it such that it agrees with us. That's my mission. Personally, I don't want to break. I want to shape. Mr. Musk responded, at some point, there's just going to be like 100 AI clones of me that sound exactly the same. Mr. Dittman pushed back by saying he was not an AI, adding, quote, this is what I unironically sound like all the time. This is natural me. Huh. Another member of the X Spaces.
I don't know, man. It sounds like a big ruse.
Defended
like
Mr.
Elon's
Dittman.
trying to cover his tracks with his burner account.
Yeah, this guy defended Mr. Dittman, posting, quote, Adrian isn't really an imposter or impersonator. He's just a guy who sounds exactly like him. I've been on a lot of spaces with him over the last few months. So apparently this Adrian Dittman guy is all over the place in spaces, which I would say that could very easily just be Elon with a alias, but apparently Dittman and Elon were on a chat together apparently in 2023. I don't know, that's very strange. It could just sound like him. I don't know. There's that Chinese guy that looks exactly like Elon.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those interesting little things that happened. And
I will say this. If I sounded exactly like Elon, like Mr. Dittman, I would be calling into Alex Jones all the time too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you wouldn't be messing with the world. So anyway, yeah, that was a little fun little twist there. And again, we don't know. I don't know. I don't know if this is a real thing. I mean, to me, it just sounded like Elon, but yeah, I'm just a normal guy. I don't have any algos to break down the sound waves.
Totally.
Just as one more point before we move on to Milei in a second here, the idea of free speech being used as sort of a Trojan horse to get the transhumanist dream out there, that was sort of one of David Icke's big points. And I think we can see that as a true thing, and it's based on the phenomenon we've been having here in the States with the rise of the not theistic Satanism, but the Satanic Church and the, I don't know, sort of the public displays of Satanism, the atheistic version or whatever version it might be, but really the atheistic version. We have here from Reason.com, mirrored on Yahoo, Brickbat, Sympathy for the Devil. Let me just read the first sentence here just to give you an idea of what this was about. It's about the Mississippi man who destroyed a statue erected by the Satanic Temple of Iowa in the state's capital last year, faces years in prison after being charged with a hate crime. Navy veteran Michael Cassidy has been charged with felony third-degree criminal mischief. So a hate crime for chopping off the head of a Satan statue or whatever that was.
Right.
And I think this is the blueprint or the coming world, I guess, of, you got cyborgs, you got all kinds of people connected to machines and microchipped and, perhaps paralyzed folks to have microchips. You cannot criticize them because it will be considered a hate crime.
Right.
And that's the precedent being set here, which speaks to sort of the reason why Christian nationalism has become a topic as well. We talked a little bit about that in the Canary Cry radio episode about God's army. But just to top that little idea off, I have this other Yahoo News story here, mirroring app.com. That's a Ashbury Park Press. Satanists are trying to assert themselves in quiet conservative Plumstead. Or is it Plumstead? Plumstead. And the first sentence of this article, Satanists, Proud Boys, and unbaptism with burnt Bible pages. These are not the images that come to mind with mentions of Plumstead, a typically quiet town of about 8,000 residents, bucolic farms, and conservative-leaning town leaders. But that's, I guess, what happened. They had they had a whole situation there where some people are trying to do a little sipping with Satan coffee meetups that include some kind of unbaptism, and the Proud Boys had a standoff with them. So stuff like that going on the ground, dividing us, you know. So that's something to keep in mind when it comes to how free speech, you know, championing free speech can backfire in a way, and how these confrontations will become probably more common as time goes on here. Okay, so let me jump into the Milei thing because it taps into the alt media conversation. And let's see, do I have a jingle? I guess it's Israel related because he met Netanyahu. Yeah. Okay, let's do that.
Kabbalah.
Kabbalah is a belief system that predates religion.
Kabbalah.
It's incredibly scientific.
Zionist!
All right, so this is coming from Buenos Aires Times. And the headline here, Javier Milei meets with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Two leaders discuss trade opportunities, Milei's plan to denounce Hamas as a terrorist organization, and a potential move of Argentina's Israeli embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And that's the big thing here. That was the big news, that Argentina, or Milei, would want to, or is planning to, move Argentina's embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which is part of leading the agenda here. The two leaders talked mid-morning in Jerusalem after Milei met with several Israeli businessmen. Following the meeting, the far-right president visited the Holocaust Museum. Is that the same one Elon was at a few weeks ago?
Perhaps.
It seems to be like almost like a ritual. Like you're a world leader of some kind, either a technocrat or a populist movement leader. You come to Israel, you pay your homage, you go to the Holocaust Museum. It seems to be a whole thing.
Right.
So he carried out the traditional planting of a tree in the Keren Kayamet Le Israel forest and toured the old city of Jerusalem, among other events with officials. So this was interesting for a couple reasons. One, did you know, Basil, that there is a conspiracy theory out there that Milei is related to Netanyahu? Have you heard of this?
I had not heard that. No.
Okay. I didn't know much about it, but apparently, according to some people on the internet, which is, of course, this is up to debate. I'm not taking sides on it per se, but Benjamin Netanyahu, his father was named Benzion Netanyahu, originally Benzion Milejkowski, and he was the son of Nathan Milejkowski, who was a Zionist political activist, rabbi, and writer from was alive between 1879 and 1935. And of course, he's the great-grandfather of Netanyahu. And so the story goes that Milejkowski changed its name to Netanyahu for Benjamin. And
Who figured this out now? Where did this come from?
This is just internet. This is internet.
Oh, okay.
And so this is, so let me just, okay, but here, there's a couple things here. The reason why I think it's become a bigger deal is because Milei transitioned from Catholic to Judaism, or he became, or he's become a Jewish, religiously Jewish individual.
Right.
And so the connection here of Milejkowski being a Zionist from 100 years ago, who's the grandfather of Netanyahu, some rumors about that, but really the connection that is suggested by the conspiracy theorists is that the name Milejkowski is it was the original last name of Javier Milei, and he shortened it to Milei based on, whatever reason that they give, whether political or, for the mainstream or whatever it may be.
You wouldn't want to spread any dangerous conspiracy theories. I'd be interested to see who broke down that sort of family tree or what the, where the source is on that. But
it's I saw all over X being shared. Okay, this is part of the alt media conversation here. So this is shared all over X with certain accounts that are of that ilk. They post on the really fringy numerology stuff. There was some stuff about 13 with the Super Bowl. There's all kinds of stuff out there. And this was in that flavor, so to speak. And so it was really hard to nail down. I couldn't find too many articles that were written about this because first of all, they were all in Spanish. So that was, not every website has a translator. So I didn't really go through the trouble of translating all of it. But there were articles trying to debunk it. So there's one here from Chequedo.com. No Javier Milei no se apellidaba originalmente Mileikowski, which I think translates to no, his last name is not Mileikowski. And they published a picture of the alleged birth certificate of Javier Milei. And it says Milei right there. It doesn't say Mileikowski. Javier Gerardo Milei. But, it's just one of those things that reminded me of Obama and Obama's birth certificate. It's got a very similar flavor where it's like you have this conspiracy about, Obama is not an American citizen. And then, to push back on it, they publish the birth certificate, And so, and the part of the argument goes, according to the conspiracy theorist, Javier Milei's father was a successful businessman. And apparently, and I didn't do the digging because I didn't have time to really do the digging. But apparently, under the name Mileikowski, there are businesses that were started in Argentina that connect to Javier Milei's father, and they were very well off. He's being described as middle class by a lot of articles, but I don't know. It's just another one of those weird things. But that's not really. This is sort of a side note. This is a little rabbit trail on the side. So, just something to note with the meeting between Netanyahu and Milei there. So just something to consider. I just want to report on some of the talk happening with the alt media space there. Any thoughts on that, Basil, or are you good to just sort of cruise along?
Interesting.
Here?
Okay, a little setup. Take me there, baby.
The other thing is, and you and I remember, and hopefully you remember, how Javier Milei had cloned dogs. Do you remember this? He had 4 cloned dogs as part of it was a weird thing. Where it was like, oh yeah, Paris Hilton and Milei apparently has cloned dogs. So that was a weird thing. And as part of looking into that again, because I was posting that on X, just sort of sharing my thoughts on it, I found a little bit of information that was interesting pertaining to his dog that is cloned, by the way. And let me just pull it up here. I'm just trying to find it so I can get it up onto the screen. I apologize for the delay. Okay, Milei is an Argentine economist. This is according to a Google search that gives you all the sources and everything here. Milei is an Argentine economist and presidential candidate who cloned his beloved dog, Conan. His dog was named Conan, like the barbarian. He paid $50,000 to a U.S. company called Perpetuate, which contracted Viagen Pets to clone Conan using his DNA. The cloning process yielded 5 English Mastiff puppies named after Conan, the famous economist. Milei claims that Conan's spirit told him to run for president through a medium.
Ah, okay.
Now, talk about the whole rise of occult breakdown. The whole thing we've been talking about with the Exeter University. You can get a master's in occult and magic and stuff, right?
Yep.
I don't know. I think that this sort of thing, I know Milei, everyone's pumped about Milei and freedom and all this, but man, it just doesn't sit right. And now with all
it's
this
mixed.
Kind of stuff,
there's I think it's similar to Tucker, where there's like a hesitant sort of interest with a splash of optimism, just because it's
it's
refreshing.
It's
refreshing, and maybe there's a little bit of hope that not all is lost. But that's very interesting. Was this where did this? So I'm sorry, I was trying to pull up the thing that you had here. So his cloned dog Conan told him to run for president through a pet medium or something.
I don't know if it was a pet medium. It just says medium here. So
Well, I mean, there's pet mediums. It's where
Sure.
you know, if you live in California or New York or something and you have a tiny chihuahua that lives in your 8th story walk-up apartment, and you know you have to lower it down into a little pee-pee pad with a rope attached to a basket, and doesn't seem to be living the life of a wolf that it was, you know, that it was born to live. You take it to a pet medium, and the pet medium tells you, you know, which products to buy to make your chihuahua feel more natural or something.
Yeah. So the Buenos Aires Times quoted Netanyahu as part of this exchange here. Quote, "We know that the greatest challenge to peace in our area, but also in yours, is Iran. And we appreciate the cooperation that we are doing with you in security and diplomacy," he added. So I was thinking, like, what? And I don't know enough geopolitical history, apparently, to know what he was talking about. Because geographically, Argentina kind of far away from Iran and Israel and stuff. But apparently, in 1994, there was a bombing of the Argentine-Israeli Mutual Association, AMIA, their building in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And it resulted in 85 people dying and hundreds of more people getting injured. And the story goes that it was plotted by Iran. That's sort of the narrative, which is, again, 90s, Iran. It seems like the same kind of plot as what we were having with America, with the World Trade Center, and, you know, not quite exactly the same, but I don't know. It's just, I guess it was Iraq at the time, not Iran. But, you know, it's similar type of playbook, it seems. So the fact that the big news here was the meeting took place and Milei agreed with Netanyahu to call Hamas a terrorist organization. And as part of that, you know, bold move against Hamas, he's saying that you know, moving the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Now, France 24 reports Argentina's Milei feted and criticized for Jerusalem embassy plan. And in this article, it says Milei had barely set foot on the tarmac at Ben Gurion Airport near Tel Aviv when he told Israel's awaiting Foreign Minister Israel Katz, quote, "My plan is to move the embassy to West Jerusalem." But the militant group Hamas said it, quote, "strongly condemns the proposed move, calling it, quote, an infringement of the rights of our Palestinian people to their land and a violation of the rules of international law," end quote. And this gets right at the heart of biblical eschatology. Jerusalem being the center of all of the end time stuff. Hamas, the Islamic group that rules Gaza, said Jerusalem remains occupied Palestinian land. Multiple countries have diplomatic missions to the Palestinians in East Jerusalem. Argentina would become only one of a handful of countries to have their embassy to Israel in Jerusalem rather than Tel Aviv. And the U.S., you know, doing it in 2018. So this got me wondering, how many nations actually have their embassy in Jerusalem? And West Jerusalem specifically, because, of course, again, West Jerusalem, Israel, East Jerusalem, Palestinian territory, this divide is real perfect setup for the false Messiah, the long-awaited Jewish Messiah who may claim, or the false Christ who will claim to be the Jewish Messiah. Mm-hmm. So, and it reminded me, of course, of the book of Revelation, chapter 17, starting in verse 12 here, about the 10 kings. The 10 horns you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but will receive 1 hour of authority as kings along with the beast. These kings have one purpose: to yield their power and authority to the beast. So this is the hive mind. The 10 kings are sort of like a hive mind that allows this beast to have authority. So I looked it up. I looked up how many embassies are in Jerusalem specifically, and it was very hard to nail down until I went to Wikipedia. I guess it's not too hard, but a bunch of other sources were not giving it to me straight and clear. They were saying like, hey, it changes, you know, you better, it's kind of in flux all the time. But according to Wikipedia, it says here, diplomatic missions to Israel are foreign embassies and consulates in Israel. There are currently 97 embassies in Israel, of which 92 embassies are located in Tel Aviv. So again, they don't say the number, but it's 5. It's 5 according to this number, or this list here. The 5 are located in Jerusalem. In addition, the embassies of some countries also maintain a consulate. There's 8 countries that reside in the Palestinian side, which Israel doesn't recognize. But so there's 5, and then let me get the nations here. Let's see: Kosovo, Honduras, Paraguay, Papua New Guinea, United States, and Argentina. Those are the 5 nations that have embassy in Jerusalem instead of Tel Aviv. Interesting list.
Yeah. Yeah, it is an interesting list.
Guatemala, Honduras,
What do they have
Kosovo, Papua New
what do they have
Guinea,
in common?
United States. I don't know. And this is why I was thinking about the 10 kings, because it was like, okay, the 10 kings could be these nations, their leaders coming and being one with Israel, so to speak, and giving Israel authority. And I find it very interesting. If you keep reading in the book of Revelation, chapter 17 here, it talks about the victory of the Lamb. They, the beast, will make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb will triumph over them, because he is the Lord of Lords and King of Kings, and he will be accompanied by his called and chosen and faithful ones. Then the angel said to me, the waters that you saw where the prostitute was seated are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. So the waters, the sea where the beast rises, people have said, is the world, right? And the 10 horns and the beast that you saw will hate the prostitute. So the 10 horns, interestingly enough, you know, the other parts of the book of Revelation, it talks about how the 10 horns, or I'm sorry, the kings of the earth fornicate with the harlot to get wealthy. Now, the harlot, in my estimation, is the eschatological city of Jerusalem. And throughout the Bible, it's very clear that Jerusalem is metaphorically talked about as the bride, or as the harlot when it is in apostate conditions. And so we have the kings of the earth, these 10 kings or more, fornicate with the harlot, which is Jerusalem, to get wealthy, which makes sense. That sort of happened in a sense around the world. If you talk about certain things that are not very PC to talk about, in terms of who controls Hollywood and who controls the big banks and that kind of thing. And then in the end, it says here, and then the 10 kings, the 10 horns and the beast that you saw will hate the prostitute. They will leave her desolate and naked, and will eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And so in the end, after they're through with her, they sort of abandon her. They beat her up, and then they abandon her. And, you know, that's you know, it says right here, verse 18, and the woman you saw is the great city that rules over the kings of the earth. So I think it's very interesting to look at Jerusalem right now. And I'm not saying that, you know, these embassies will be the 10 kings, but the fact that there haven't been 10 is interesting. And it's one of those issues where it's like, hey, they could blast through that, you know, they'll have 20, 30. It's like the G10 a few decades ago. Everyone was like, oh, G8, G9. And when we get to G10, we got the 10 kings. And then now we're at what, G20 or something? We're at way more nations.
Or something.
27. Yeah. So it could be one of those things. But, you know, it's just a reminder that we're looking for something that surrounds Jerusalem, that defends Jerusalem. Part of the Antichrist here, the role of his rise is to defend Israel and to eliminate its enemies, which could be the Islamic world, which would mean modern nation state Israel victory over Palestine or that whole movement, right? So it's, I don't know, it's a very prophetic overlap of events. And not that we're going to see exactly, you know, the end times as this plays out with Netanyahu and Milei and all this kind of stuff, but it's just something to consider. It's just weird. It's just one of those weird things, Basil. Oh, and by the way, to top it off, sorry, one more thing. Milei met with the Pope too. So Pope canonized his first female Argentine saint before meeting Milei. So yeah,
he's
Milei
really
busy,
getting
man.
around.
He's getting around. He's paying homage to the lizard overlords.
It's interesting. I just did a little search just to see what comes up for countries considering moving their embassies to Jerusalem. Did bring up this thing from December 26, 2017, which is a long time ago.
Yeah.
At least 10 more countries line up to move their embassies to Jerusalem. So apparently there's a number of countries talking about it or lining up to do it, but only 5 have really pulled the trigger. That's interesting. Let's see. What are the Czech Republic, Romania, Philippines, Guatemala. Was Guatemala on the list?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, no, Guatemala is on the list, yes.
So they did theirs. Okay.
They did theirs.
Interesting. Yeah, it would be really interesting to see if any other countries sort of take Milei's lead. You know, it's interesting because, of course, Trump was the one who moved the U.S. to embassy to Jerusalem, and that was a big hullabaloo.
Yeah.
And
a lot of
Milei,
third temple talk surrounding it, yeah.
Yeah, Milei being sort of the Argentinian Trump, or maybe, you know, you can almost call him more than just Argentinian Trump because of this sort of international parade he's on.
I mean, he's been to Antarctica, and then he went and visited Bibi, and then he's visiting the Pope, and he was at the World Economic Forum. The guy is, there must be clones of him. We get his dog. Maybe he's a clone.
Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. This was written when U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations was Nikki Haley. Pointed out that 65 nations refused to condemn the U.S. Okay, interesting. Weird. A lot of weird stuff connected to this. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Milei is more than the new president of Argentina. He is sort of an international symbol for this populism
I was going to say, yeah. He's almost the
Yeah.
perfect infiltrator of the populist movement, almost.
You know, all these people are very curious. A lot of very curious people at the top here. It's hard to get too invested in the goodness of any one of them. All right. Well, anything else?
Robot Milei. When Robot Milei? That's it.
When Robot Milei.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I want clone Milei in a robot.
Yeah, well, all you got to do is wait, Guns. Time will tell.
Time will give me all I want.
Did we have anybody send us speak pipes?
Yes, we have a good handful of speak pipe to catch up with. Let's do that real quick.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Go to canarycrynewstalk.com. On any of the pages, you can find a little green tab on the right side. If you click on it, it'll open a little window that allows you to record an audio message of up to 90 seconds. And you can use that 90 seconds to leave a pre-show prayer. You can leave a message to the Canarium. You can leave a personal message to Basil and I and let us know that it's personal, and that way we won't play it publicly. We also would love the cameos from celebrities, politicians, athletes, deceased mafia bosses. You know, anyone can come leave a message on our speak pipe. Boots on the ground reports are always welcome. Meetup reports are welcome as well. So all those things you can do through the Canary Cry speak pipe portal. I don't know. Can we come up with a better name for that? We've been saying SpeakPipe for a long time.
I just
feel
say
like
it's
there
the
could
voice
be a
message.
better
It's the
word.
green tab. You just
The
go to
green
the website,
the
click the green tab, leave a voice message.
I know, but it feels like it should have its own cool name or something. All right. So, yes, we have a few to catch up with. Let's see. We're going to start off with Jessica R.
Hey guys, it's Jessica R. I just wanted to thank you for giving my kids a shout out for their birthday last week. As a single mom in this economy, I can only do so much. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. They were super excited about it. And I wanted to give a quick 2 cents for Monday's episode, you guys talked about Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador. So he did win the presidency by a landslide. He has a lot of things that I wanted to kind of let you guys know about. But I was born in El Salvador. I became a U.S. citizen in 2009, so that's why I'm really familiar with him. And I've been following what he's been doing for my birth country. But he comes from money. His family is from the Middle East. And so, he didn't really take a whole lot of campaign donations, if any. I don't even know that he did, but he really used a lot of his own funding. He didn't really have a party to kind of back him. The only people that were willing to take the risk on him was Nuevas Ideas, and that's why he kind of stuck to them. But he's done a lot of things. His motto is money is enough as long as nobody steals it or nobody launders it. I think that's the best way to translate that. But yeah, he's been called a dictator for years now. He's by the opposition. Obviously, they want to kind of, put whatever awful title on him, but he's really done a lot of good for that country. So, but anyways, I wanted to thank you guys so much and keep doing what you're doing. I'll keep praying for you guys.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
R.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's some great sort of insider info there. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of my question during your report on that, Gons, was like, wait, is he really a dictator, or is this like a Trump's a dictator type of thing? Sounds like it's more on the, he's a populist doing the things people want in their country, therefore he's a dictator.
Yeah. Yep. That was pretty much the take. But yeah, definitely similar stuff going on with anybody, it seems, that's not going with the program all over the world. But that doesn't mean that I think it's one of those good, take the good, take the positive, and then
doesn't mean he's a perfect angel, but
stay vigilant with stuff, because you never know, especially with these politician types. So, but yeah, thank you for that message, Jessica R. And I know that he has done quite a bit, again, to decrease crime. Even that mainstream article where they called him a dictator, they're like, crime is way down.
Yeah,
but civil rights. They had to come up with an angle.
Even that, they're like, yeah, he's such a dictator because he's enforcing laws and putting criminals in jail. Whoa. I don't know.
Maybe that's why Joe did that thing.
Maybe he's going overboard sometimes. I don't really know, but that's always what it comes across as.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm always going to be skeptical of politicians, no matter what. There's always there's just a baseline of skepticism of all politicians that I have that I can't get below that. So, but Milei's. I mean, I was stoked for Milei. Bitcoin. He's mining Bitcoin with lava. He's doing some cool things. I can't really complain about the guy. All right. We also have a message from Erin, who this is okay. Let me just play it so she can explain herself.
Hey, Canary Cry guys, Basil and Gons. I'm so excited. I was listening to Patrick Holland again, as you have him back on as a guest, and this is Aaron Hagstrom, formerly Aaron Moffat, and I was thrilled to hear that he reminded me that, yes, he interviewed me several years ago. It was one of my first interviews before I started my own YouTube channel. And I was just new in the gold and silver game, just learning the ropes. So how exciting. And I totally want to reconnect. Thank you for having him on. Thank you for bringing us hope in this time of darkness, that there's something that we can do in our own home states. So if anyone besides Patrick Holland wants to get a hold of me for gold and silver, I would be happy to help, get you involved, get you at the best prices above anybody else. But mainly, Patrick, here's my email. It's ladyliberty@countermail.com. That's ladyliberty@countermail.com. And God bless you guys and what you're doing, and what a wonderful and fun way to reconnect with Patrick. I'm so excited. Thanks, guys. Peace.
That was so fun. That's great.
Yeah.
Look at that. People reconnecting over the show.
Yeah. Good stuff. I love it. Appreciate it. Thank you, Aaron. And yeah, we'll get people to check out
I want some gold.
Yeah, I know.
I want some gold and silver.
When are they going to stop suppressing the gold price? We're still waiting for that gold explosion.
Yeah, I don't know. If it doesn't happen, I'll just hammer my gold down into a thin sheet of foil and use it for I don't know, collecting cosmic rays or something.
Yeah. It'd be cool to make, like a private key out of gold, just letters and numbers scattered across your property, and your children have to find it all. It's like Dragon Ball. They got to find all the pieces
scavenger
and
hunt.
bring it together to get
you want
access
to find
to Bitcoin.
You want to find Grandpa's Bitcoin, you have to follow the trail of gold.
Got to find all the gold. All right. Thank you very much, Aaron. Appreciate that. Okay, we have this is a little bit of a longer message, but I think we will play the whole thing. It is from Pizza Rat. It is a heartfelt message, and we're going to allow him to speak here. So it's 3 separate messages. We will just play them continuously through here.
Okay.
Yo, Canary and Pizza Rat here. Sir Marty B and I want to put together another meetup in Arkansas, but there is one thing I need to clear up beforehand. I wish to apologize a second time to someone, a Canary from Conway, whose name I do not know. Some time ago, before the last Pikeland meetup, I received an email from a Canary inquiring about meetups in Arkansas. I had been the one who had organized the previous meetup. I responded very rudely to him, even employing the F word in an email. So y'all should know that I did not accept Christ until I was in my 30s, and I have been dealing with crippling depression and anxiety as far back as I can remember. This is related to childhood trauma and occult-related trauma in my 20s. That is as personal as I wish to be about it in this forum, but if I ever met any of you in person, I might be willing to divulge more. All that said, I have gone through phases where I would self-medicate with alcohol. I do not trust doctors. This occurred at one of those times. I was actually feeling sick of it all, including Canary Cry. In hindsight, I believe that the Holy Spirit may have been working through this person as, like, a gentle nudge to get my head back in the game. Also, John, if you're listening, I know he was your friend, so I offended John, if you're listening, I know he was your friend, so I offended you directly as well, and I apologize. I do this thing sometimes where I compartmentalize and don't remember, but often they come back, you know? Though I don't believe that drinking in and of itself is sinful, I have decided to stop altogether. See the recent CCR episode with Sam Swanson of Slave to Servant. No, I was never one of those total alcoholics who wakes up with the shakes and pukes before cracking a beer at 8 a.m. or anything. I am simply beginning to see that it is a government-sponsored neurotoxin. However, if anyone feels that it is sinful, I would actually relish that sort of conversation. Speaking of Sam Swanson, shout out to him. In 2020, I was working at Domino's in Little Rock, and I didn't know any other fringy Christians. I was praying that Yahweh would send one my way just to prove that there were others out there, like a Gideon's fleece, if you will. And the Holy Spirit sent him. There's a testimony for you. He got me to re-tune in to Canary Cry. That was the first time I'd actually heard about CCNT. Also, B&G didn't even notice the slave to servant record in the recent photo I sent. Come on, guys. Anyways, I totally forgot that I sent the mean email because I had been hanging with Bullet Rye that night and probably deleted the whole conversation. I did apologize once before, but I only sent a note to B&G, and this was 2 summers ago or something, while Basil was MIA at Burning Man and Gons was totally overwhelmed. He skimmed over it quickly, and it may have been missed by the intended ears. I just want to hear from this person. I think you live in Conway. I'd love to buy you lunch or something and apologize in person. If I do this, I would feel much better about organizing a meetup. I intend to regardless, but I just needed to say this publicly. Thanks for your time, Canarium. I apologize, and I love you all. Pizza Rat.
Wow. Well, that is very special, Pizza Rat. Thank you very much. That's what we're all about here, folks. What a incredible taking of responsibility for his own behavior towards another canarium. Obviously, a desire for reconciliation. Obviously, going through these periods of life that happen to all of us at some point or another. That's a really big thing. What a break, to come on and publicly beseech your family, your spiritual family. I mean, that's a pretty big move, Pizza Rat. I got to give respect, and there's people in the chat too giving you respect for that as well. So we can't wait to hear more about this meetup. But yeah, what a great example of, hey, if you're gonna put on a meetup, you're gonna try to bring the Canary Cry family together in an area, making some reconciliation for some whoopsie daisies. That's a very important part of it. I think it's a great example of how to do it, Pizza Rat. Well done.
Yeah, when the Holy Spirit convicts you, you gotta act on that, or
you gotta speak up. You gotta speak up. It doesn't go away until you do.
Mm-hmm. So appreciate that. Very brave of you, Pizza Rat. Thank you.
Very cool message.
Hopefully we all that's patched up, and there's a fantastic meetup with some fellow Canarians in the near future there. So let us know about that.
Love it.
All right, we got one more speak pipe message from the Sentinel. This one's fun too.
Hey, Basil and Gons and Canary Cry family. It's the Sentinel. And this is not hate mail for Basil. Basil, you've been doing a great job. So I'm proud of you, buddy. But I've been hearing all these Telegram channels that are coming up in news stories and just everywhere. And I thought, what if we had a Canary Cry community Telegram channel? So I went ahead and made on Telegram a channel/group called Canary Cry Community, and anybody can kind of look it up. Feds and shills are not allowed, but everybody else who is part of the Canarium and just wants to encourage one another and communicate and network, I thought that would maybe be a cool idea. So if that's something people are interested in, go check it out on Telegram at Canary Cry Community. And if it's not something you're interested in, then you can just stay on YouTube and be alone. So yeah, anyways, I think it's kind of like Discord. I don't have Discord, but this is what I got. So I figured I'd try to get it started to just kind of branch out the community and how we can communicate with each other. So I hope to see a couple people jump on with me. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Awesome. Okay, great.
Right.
That's how it's done, folks.
Take action.
I do not have Telegram, but I know we have a lot of people over the years have told us to do a Telegram channel.
Yeah,
and
I
we
was
have
just
not done
downloading it onto the desktop here. Oop, car starting. Sorry about that.
Yeah, is
folks.
there a desktop version?
There is, yeah. There's a desktop that you can, or version that you can get.
What is it? Telegram.com or something?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I'll take a look at it. There you go,
Yeah,
Canary Cry. Canary Cry community on Telegram. Somebody did it. So we were waiting for somebody to do it. That's called producing, folks. Telegram.org is what it looks like it is there. We've had tons of people email us over the past couple of years telling us to get a Telegram, and it's just been on the list, never did it. Thank you very much, the Sentinel. Canary Cry community on Telegram. Go!
Let's do it. All right. Okay. Do we want to thank some producers for their treasure, the rest of them?
Yeah, let me run down the list real quick.
Let's do it.
These are...
Okay.
What?
No, go ahead. Just mumbling to myself. Podcasting.
I know. You're mumbling to the whole world, Gons. Yes, these are producers who came in. They supported the show with their treasure. Remember, value for value. It's it's punk rock, man. If you don't get it, you don't get it. If you want to stay in the YouTube beast system that's been ruling your life for your whole life so far, you can stay there. But if you want to participate and rebel in your spirit against the system that holds our hearts, unfortunately, holds our hearts in a tighter grip than we even realize. That is true. The economic system. When the economic system is the thing that is dictating your morals, dictating your ideas, your I don't know, the way you interact with other human beings on this planet, there might be a time when you might want to second guess your instincts in that regard. And that's the value for value model, which means we'll make as much value as we can. We'll keep doing it for as long as we can. And if that brings any value to your life, you're invited to put value back in. Indeed, it's mandatory that people put value back in, or else we wouldn't exist. And people do. And they do that by going to canarycry.support to get involved with their treasure, but also your time and your talent are treasures as well. But a few people came in under the executive producer amount. Are you ready, Gons?
I am, and I was actually thinking, we are being contrarians by pushing back against the corporate news system or advertising and all that stuff by doing value for value.
Right.
And I was just being a contrarian to that idea. I was thinking, what will be a time when, value for value is mainstream? Would it ever go back? Would corporate advertising, that model, would it ever be punk rock like in any context?
No.
Okay.
No,
all right,
it would
good.
not.
There you go. That's what I was thinking too.
Okay, good. All right, here we go. We're going to thank some people, starting with producer Sir Marty K. Out of the wrong timeline.
Sir Marty K., thank you very much.
He came in on Friday's episode 2, so 2 in a row here, and came in once for 6666. Ooh,
scary
and
number.
4321, 4321.
Oh, appreciate it.
Sent a couple of notes. One of the first note said, I only got one thing to say, Odyssey. All the way, babies. I wonder who's on Odyssey. I do not have Odyssey up during the show. But if people are there, I should probably have Odyssey up. So I will do that.
Yeah.
He has another note.
Okay, go ahead.
Says, hey, fellas and fellow Canarians. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I took a screenshot when I was watching some news. You can... Oh, no. Wait. You can hit the ding button right now, Gons. Yours truly, Marty K. The screenshot was of the I believe it was the Tucker Carlson video that had hit 66 million viewers at the time he was looking at it.
Yep, that's what it is.
Ding.
I don't have it pulled up, but yes, I did see it. Let me
Okay.
Good.
Thank you very much, Sir Marty K. Love to see you on the list, my friend.
Yep. Thank you, Marty K.
Next up, we have
66 million views.
What?
There it is. Over 66 million views on Carlson's X account. There you go.
Next up, we got producer Travis H. Travis H. coming in. I think I owe Travis H. an email. He sent in 4242. Ooh, perfection.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait, that's not perfection. That's carry this message to Haram Abiff.
42. Wait, you said 42 episodes in a row?
No, $42.42.
Yeah, we don't have an actual thing for that.
No, I know. I'm just referencing the jingle we have for the 42.
When you say that,
we got to end this show, folks. Gons is losing his mind here. Thank you very much,
like
Travis
you're
H.
prompting me to play that jingle when you say.
I know what you thought.
I
know what you thought. I'm going to keep moving because we don't want to get caught up here. We're trying to get through these producers. Thank you, Travis H. I did not see a message from Travis H., but I will look again and correct anything in the future if I have to. Next up, we've got producer Josie Wales.
Josie Wales.
Josie Wales comes in for 1777.
Ooh. Thank you.
And Josie Wales sent a note here. And this is John 8:32. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. John 8:32. For months, I prayed that the Lord will show me some truth, focusing on Jesus Christ. He led me to this podcast through the avenue of a family member rattling my cage.
Yes.
Thank y'all for the truth y'all bring into this world full of lies. Josie Wales. And we're going to give Josie a demooching.
We are. Okay, I was thinking that was going to happen, so I was preparing.
Guys, it's the dad thing, the muttering in between everything. I've noticed this. As it gets further and further into the dad thing, the like muttering under the breath that all dads do, that they've always done, it gets more and more. This is just a very special opportunity we have to broadcast it to thousands and thousands of people.
Okay.
Not all dads get to broadcast their muttering to all over the world.
Mutter with gone, so it'll just be me.
Oh, it is. It is not just going to.
There you go, Josie Wales.
Thank you very much, Josie Wales. Next up, Dame Sarah came in for 1111.
Thank you, Dame Sarah. 1111.
And says, this is for the new computer for Gonzo. Okay, we're putting it in the computer fund. Thank you, Dame Sarah.
Thank you, Dame
Next
Sarah.
up, we got producer Ellie O.
Ellie O. Thank you, Ellie
1111.
Another 1111.
Okay. Anything else? Any muttering to be done before we move on?
Basil's
Next up, we got Dame Gale, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's.
Thank you, Dame Gale.
357 episodes in a row. Came in for a pocket full of sevens. And a note here. This is call the producers real quick, Guns.
Will do.
Producers, assemble!
Okay. The saga continues, Dame Gale says. My daughter's twisted ovarian cyst ruptured, then new symptoms developed, and blood test for cortisol level was more than double normal value, which is textbook sign of Cushing's disease, resulting from a pituitary tumor. My goodness.
Oh my gosh.
I thank God for my Canary Cry family, who is always there to pray for us as we struggled through this saga involving a myriad of doctors that focused on their misdiagnoses of Hashimoto's thyroiditis, subjecting her to unsuccessful treatments over the past 15 years. She is 15 years. She is now being referred to Stanford Neuroendocrinology Center, which is just 30 miles down the road. Please pray with me that their expertise with medical treatment to control the cortisol release and hopefully defer any need for no surgical intervention. I'm going to say we want to defer any need for surgical intervention. These prayers I ask in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, your sister in Christ, Dame Gale, Canary Whisperer, and Kerrigan, X's and O's. Thank you very much, Dame Gale. And yes, producers around the world, you're all out there. We're all producers now, folks. That's the truth of it. You can't be a producer without being a producer, but you can be a producer and a producer. So everybody put it on your list. We are praying for Dame Gale and Kerrigan, that this new phase in hunting down the mysterious medical issues will be fruitful. Of course, praying for healing always, for comfort and strength, and of course, the finances to take care of all this stuff, that there would be a smooth and motivated experience at this new medical place with these new doctors. We're just praying that they solve the mystery and take care of the problem with as little surgical intervention as possible. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
So put it on the list, people, and remember it throughout the week here, of course.
Yep.
Dame Gale, thank you so much for your producership.
Thank you, Dame Gale. Appreciate it.
Wow, we made it. That is the conclusion of all of the financial producers who came in under the executive producer amount. We got a few more. They're on streaks. They're coming in under $7. Let's thank them now, starting with Sir Tristan, Night of the Garden. 6 episodes in a row.
Thank
that
you,
means
Sir Tristan.
on fire.
Sir Tristan is on fire.
We got Doctor Who Done Dat, 57 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Doctor Who Done That.
Mrs. Tinfoil Hat Man, 18 in a row.
Thank you, Mrs. Tinfoil Hat Man. You are supernova.
This is Charlie November Tango. You are approaching supernova. Repeat, you are approaching supernova.
Sir Moore of Night of the Burning Chariots, 330 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Moore.
Almost 333, Sir Moore. If you're
very
getting
close.
there. Big deal.
Yep.
Okay. Next up, we got Veronica D, 361 in a row.
Thank you, Veronica D.
Sir Scott Knight of Truth, 387.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 399 in a row.
Oh, my goodness.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Okay. That concludes our list of financial producers. Thank you guys so much. And again, a call out to anybody. If you've ever thought that producing this show is something you might do, you might want to do, you might feel called to do, you don't need to do the 3333, you don't need to do the 1984. Every tiny little piece of generosity and value from everybody listening right now going to canarycry.tube. We can hit this goal. We can make this happen. We can future-proof and not be held hostage by the big tech platforms. Pray about it, please. Pray about it. This is, we have lots of very generous producers who are pitching in to make this happen, but it will not happen without a very specific group of people who are sort of holding out and don't, I don't know. It could be a lot of reasons. I'm not trying to guilt anybody into producing if they don't feel like producing is for them. If this show is not worth producing for them, that's okay. But I'm specifically gonna in earnest ask that producers who have been thinking about it or have thought about it or are on the fence, and maybe the other programs we run are too expensive, even just your $8.99 or something. Let's take the power out of the hands of the big tech platforms and put it into the hands of the little guy. That's what we're trying to do. If you go to canarycry.tube and you can read about the plan there, we've got the budgets, we've got the goals there, we've got the needs, we've got the hardware. You can read all about what we're trying to do. And for that same subscription to Hulu, bring it this way. You're going to get all these clips of AOD4. You're going to become a part of what makes that film happen. And the idea is, once we have this infrastructure set up to be hosting all our own stuff, AOD4 is not the only thing that's going to be on Canary Cry Tube. Of course, we got big plans for all sorts of stuff, but it starts with building the infrastructure. Go check it out, and we pray that the Lord inspires people to help us out. And with that is the conclusion of all of our financial producers. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you. Let's spend a few minutes to thank our producers coming in with their God-given talent. If you get any value out of this show, you can provide value back by contributing with your talent. And that helps us build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. And it's an important part of the whole apparatus here because, as you see with Burning Man or any kind of cultural touching point, art, music, those things are...
Culture, baby.
Culture,
it's the
yeah,
culture
it shapes
war.
The culture. Yep, and it's
we make fun of the culture war. We make fun of the culture war a lot. I haven't done it a lot publicly, but here's the thing: Tim Pool is very
Tim Pool.
Tim
I almost
Pool.
feel like you listen to Tim Pool to get mad, like
I finally
get triggered.
Yeah, so here's the thing, and this has been an interesting journey for me,
Tim
and
Pool.
I don't know if now is the time to talk about it, but I'm just going to touch on it, which is Tim Pool. He was not necessarily on my listen list. It's part of my job is keeping up with all of these alternative media things, just trying to keep tabs on everything and everybody and stay apprised of all the big conversations. And just recently has Tim Pool become part of that process. And man, oh man, we have turned our, being spiritual people here on this show, the culture war, we try our best to be in the world, not of the world, not to get caught up in the culture war, not to let, political powers use our spirituality for their own political gains, not to be, treated as a voting bloc, and not to get caught up in the sort of pettiness of culture war. We've talked a lot about this for many years. Tim Pool is the proudest culture war. The way he talks about it has changed my mind a little bit, reluctantly. I'm trying not to have my mind changed about it, because the passion with which this man is fighting the culture war and explicitly saying that like the culture war is his battleground, and but I like what he's doing, which is he's starting businesses. He's has a coffee company, and he has a skateboard facility that he's building, and a skate company, and all this stuff.
A skater video guy.
Yeah. And his work, great work during Occupy Wall Street, which is when we met, Gons. He was a big part of that. Right. Worked for Vice News. It was a whole thing. So, he's been in the game for a long time. But he's so explicitly fighting the culture war, and the sort of courageousness with which he admits that on a daily basis as kind of, I gotta give the guy respect, man. And, he's one of these big influencers that Christianity is starting to become a pretty big influence in his circle and on his show, even though he's not a Christian. People have heard me mention that a few times recently. Anyways, the culture war, building culture is one of the biggest things he's got me kind of pumped about. And yeah, people, that's why we do the Valley for Valley in the way we do. That's why we have artists who have created stuff 300 episodes in a row or more. That's why we open it to everybody, because creating the culture of the show, it's not just of the show. This culture reaches far and wide, and it is the sort of deep-rooted culture of Canary Cry that has done us the most good over the years. So if you are an artist of any kind, a musician, you just make jingles, if you draw, if you do graphic design, whatever, stuff I haven't even said yet. I'm still waiting for the fushigi. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I'm waiting patiently. Whatever you do with your talents, you should put that into creating culture. That is how it's won. Okay, that is how the world changes, is through culture. So get to work, make some stuff for the show, go to canarycry.art, upload it there, get it on the show. It becomes the culture. And it's not just it's featured on the show once. It goes into my bin of art that I use for everything. We use it for social posts. We use these things for the thumbnail art. We use these things for new web pages that go up, for we just use Sir Darren's art for the canarycry.tube. This is a very important part of this show, is creating the culture, and it's done through using your talents. So do that. Go to canarycry.art. I command it. That's an order, soldier. We're going to win this culture war.
Very good. Yep. I'm pumped. And so are these folks coming in with their artwork.
Get Tim Pool off the screen.
One art, please.
All right.
Can't believe I gave that rant with just a giant Tim Pool's face on the screen. That's embarrassing. That's really embarrassing. I think we could make some friends with some of Tim Pool's sort of entourage over there. I think we would have a place for them to have some good conversations over here. If anybody's hooked in over there, part of Tim Pool's community, hit me up.
Yeah, Basil will wash his feet. He told me.
I will wash anybody's feet.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
I was in a church where we actually did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a regular part of our day.
Just integrate it into everyday life. All right, we have a couple of we have a few people to thank here. This was all coming in last week. We did not get around to thanking everybody on Wednesday. So we have some from Wednesday as well. We're going to kick it off with Jonathan F. Where's me mouse? Here it is.
Jonathan F.
And Jonathan F. is a note. He actually sent two here, but I'll play the second one because it's a revise. It says, "Hello, thought I'd make a song with Brando's flubs. This uses a recent one where he says Trump is the sitting president and features the classic Harry Legs vocal, enjoying God Bless. And then he came back and said, sorry about the old jingle. It was made in a very small chunk of time and did not have the time to put in more polishing as a result. Here is the revised jingle, since it's probably very crucial at this point, and also a revised version of the song. So here is the track. Oh, I thought it was here. Was this it? Oh, here it is. Aha.
We believe the borders should remain open. I'm joking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do it again.
We believe the borders should remain open. I'm joking.
That doesn't sound like the correct one. It is funny. Let's see. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
that was the
Jonathan.
New York mayor, was it?
Yeah, it said it was a Biden flub. Maybe this is an old note.
Yeah, maybe something's disconnected there. I didn't hear a
Yeah.
Biden there.
Yeah, I didn't hear Biden.
Unless that
either.
was Biden with a vocoder or something.
It's true.
We believe the borders should remain open.
No.
I'm joking.
No, that's
I don't
Eric
think that's-
Adams.
that's Eric Adams,
That's
yeah.
Eric Adams, yeah.
Huh. Okay. Maybe something got messed up here.
I get it. It was not what I was expecting. I guess that's what my hesitance is coming from. It was not Biden. My brain was waiting for a Biden gaffe, and
Yeah.
it wasn't there.
Hold on. There are two links in this thing. So maybe the second link is the one that we're supposed to play here. Let's find out. Here we go. Loading.
We believe the borders should remain open. I'm joking.
That's the same one.
It's a little cleaner, that one.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, this is the same one. Open border. Huh. Okay. Well, maybe.
Okay, that's great. Let's keep moving.
Oh, here.
That's
Here's
what you had.
Brando's flub. Hold on. Let me just double check here. This is a Brando's flub.
I got hairy legs that turn, that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down. I got hairy legs. You see what he recently said about he wants to see the economy crash this year? Soft spot for riders. The sitting president. The same I think, bless me, Father, for come on, man. Soft spot for riders. I got hairy legs. You see what he recently said about he wants to see the economy crash this year? Soft spot for riders. Sitting president. The same I think, bless me, Father, for come on, man.
All right, there's about 30 seconds left. We'll play the rest at the end. But yeah, I love vocodor / pitch shifted Biden. Sounds great.
Yeah, that was fun, actually. I like the way he cut up that, especially the opening line,
Yeah.
the hairy legs bit. Thank you very much, Jonathan F.
Yep, thank you. Okay, now we do some art, visual art, that is, and we kick it off with Sir Dove.
One art piece from Dove.
And let me just make sure I'm showing it on the screen here. And Sir Dove said, I did this sticker design months and months ago, but never turned it in. I figured another Russian window situation could happen at any time, though I kept it on deck, or so I kept it on deck. And with our buddy Tucker over there talking to the man himself, I thought I'd finally send it in. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for Jens. P.S. I also wanted to give a shout out to Mark A. I love his Basil, B-A-S-I-L character, and his art just keeps getting better and better. Oh, how nice. Thanks for the shout out to Mark A.
Yeah,
Dove.
Mark A. Shout out. His little Basil the robotic arm character is a good character. This is hilarious. Yes, we've commented for years now about the Russian defenestration syndrome, which is, Russians falling out of windows at inopportune times. And we have a sticker here for, Putin's plate glass industry, PPG. And the second P in the PPG has a little lizard eyeball in it. A must-have for any oligarch. Helps prevent sudden Russian death syndrome. And we've got Putin here. Good, hard-working man. Of course, his eyelids half closed. He's got his working shirt on, and he's installing a window there. Allegedly, a window that will help Russian oligarchs not fall out. Although maybe, considering it's Putin installing the window, it's like a window that has some sort of extra spring-loaded throw oligarch out the window mechanism. Who knows? But that might be, it's the Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution. If oligarchs in Russia have a problem falling out of windows, Putin should start a, falling out of window-free window company. That's the way you take over. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. Do you recall what this patch on his shirt was for?
I don't. I was looking at it, trying to figure it out, but it's a silhouette of a man riding a horse.
It's Putin on a horse. It's Putin on his horse, and he's holding a shirt. Yeah, so that's the Putin riding shirtless horse logo, apparently. It's very good.
He should trademark that whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure he has.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Sir Dove. Appreciate
Thank you very much,
that,
Sir Dove.
as always. All right, we have something here from Chicken Ninja. Yes, Chicken Ninja. There's a note here. My niece made some art for the show. She wants to be known as the Chicken Ninja. Oh, I'm sorry, the Chicken Ninja. Got to make sure I put the in front of there. She made a portrait of Basil and Gons. Basil has one of the cat Monties sneaking up behind him. He also has cats, emus, and chickens on his shirt with his VR mask and googly eyes. Gons has his classic prayer hands hat that I can't find, and his daughter sneaking up behind him. You have permission to show this art and use this art as episode art if you'd like.
Thank you. This is very cute. This came in last Wednesday, and I'm sad we didn't get to do it last Wednesday, but this is beautiful. It's done in, looks like pencil and colored pencil. And just as advertised, the Chicken Ninja has perfectly rendered both my partner Gons and I with our individual unique properties such as VR headsets with googly eyes, prayer hands, hats, a tiny little ninja sneaking up behind Gons, a cat, of course, poking his ears and tail up behind my shoulders, and a very cool emu, chicken, and bunny shirt. Oh, and cat shirt. Thank you very much, the Chicken Ninja. Very talented. That's what I'm talking about. Creating culture, the Chicken Ninja. Thank you very much. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, we'll hopefully see more. This is a cool thing. You get to see the art and then you see them get better and better. And that's the really fun part of it. So Chicken Ninja, we will be waiting for your next one. Appreciate you. Thank you. The note goes on, just as part of it here. It says, I'm almost done with the Canary bingo. I'll submit it soon.
So this is Dame Grace. This is Dame Grace.
Dame Miss G of the OV. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Submit it, and yes, we're waiting for it.
Yeah. Remember, folks, send us an email at canarycryradio@gmail.com if there's something you want to see on the bingo card, and we can send that to Dame Miss G for you. She did give her email at the time. I forget what it was though. So you can send it to us. We'll send it to her.
Yep. Okay. Oh, look at this. Just real quick, we're going to go back to Jonathan F. for just one moment, because Jonathan F. sent in something with this was visual art, actually, for a little different this time. And he had a note that read, "Hello, guys. I used an AI art generator to put together this image of you guys fighting a demonic Nephilim android rising from the metaverse."
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and
you
that's
did.
pretty much what it is. That's exactly what it is.
It's in the style of a Canary Cry News Talk thumbnail. He captured the style for sure. And there is some sort of giant, mean techno demon man in the background rising out of the vaporwave polygon landscape. We've got a black cube with the numbers 666. 6. I'm assuming that's.
I think it's 666, but the whole thing didn't fit on the cube there.
And the Gons character here looks strangely like you Gons, but is not you. It's a photorealistic face of some sort of bizarro Gons, or is that? That is not.
That looks like a Korean Gons.
Okay, Korean Gons. Yes, a little on the white side for my taste, Gons. And on the left side, we've got this crazy... This looks like a combination of maybe it was Sir Darren's... It's got like a little Sir Darren vibe, but instead of a googly-eyed man with a VR headset, it's like a penguin man with the...
Duckman. Canary Man.
Yeah. Well, it gives me penguin vibes. It's like a penguin man with like a Tron motorcycle racing helmet with googly eyes. It's really bizarre. It is like if there is a multiverse, this is sort of our thumbnail in a different multiverse. Thank you very
metaverse.
much.
Yeah, the demon metaverse would look all chaotic like this too. Yeah. Thank you very much, Jonathan F. Appreciate it. We have one more piece of art here from Sir Darren, Knight of the Hungry Pandas.
Knight of the Hungry Pandas.
Yeah, that bass line's pretty sick too. Okay, he has the note here. Alert! Help your boy Gons level up his tech game. His 2013 Mac Pro is currently moonlighting as a waste bin for old Age of Deceit manuscripts. It's too close to home. Support value for value and get Gon's new gear. Give now at canarycry.party.
Yes, this was made before the full campaign was even dreamt of, but this is hilarious. It's like an image of a desktop, of a Mac desktop. It's actually a GIF, which is very fun. It's very flashy, very movie. And it's as if a Safari page is open, which is Mac's default web browser.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a pop-up, like a horrible pop-up came up on his computer that says, "Let's get Gon's new gear," sponsored by Body by Basil. We got a buff little canary down there in the corner. That's very cute. We've got a very sad-looking Mac Pro, which is not the model you have. But this
is the older one.
This is the even older one. This was the Mac Pro that I had, was this crazy version. You got it when it was the circular, like, trash can looking version.
Yeah, the trash can replaced my old Mac Pro, which was the same thing. It was a humongous monster of a computer.
Right. Well, it's here. It's beautiful. It's got a very sad face, big metal monstrosity, state-of-the-art Apple computer, it says. Needs a good home. It's got stickers covering the side of it, all these stickers that you can probably get in the Canary Cry supply drop. My goodness, look at those. You got my Basil's turquoise-haired waifu, who's very nervous about this. Let's think outside the cage. Gonz's computer is from 2013. That's like 333 in computer years. That is true. Hashtag value for value, canarycry.party. Gonz gear goal, 100% funded. Give, support your boy Gonz. Do it. canarycry.tube, folks. By the way, I've mentioned this before, but I didn't mention it today. Gonz's new computer budget is within that canarycry.tube goal. So we're doing it all at once. We're getting it all done. Go check it out, canarycry.tube.
Yep. Just a small detail on this piece of art from Sir Darren. The on the right side, you know how there's on your desktop you have your icons. And usually you have your main hard drive. Well, they got the Shmura hard drive. There's a drive for CCNT jingles. There's a drive for Age of Deceit 4, for articles, show art. I mean, this is very close. But you know what's funny is I could tell based on the bubbly look of the browser and the buttons and all the icons on the bottom that this is like old school Mac layout. This is before they upgraded some stuff. Everything was shiny and like 3D looking. Now everything's all flat and plain, you know. But just small little detail. Thank you, Sir Darren. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Very well done, Sir Darren.
Okay, we have a couple microfictions to go through, and
Microfiction.
Oy, I'm tired, man. I'm like tired today. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. We've been going long. This is a long show. We've been, along with our 2024, new schedule, our new commitments to the variety that we've been accomplishing with the interviews and the schedule and everything. We have also been doing about one old school long show a week, too. So, you know what? A little bit something for everybody. Some people hate the long shows. A lot of people love the long shows. We do one long show, one regular show, one interview a week. Look, they say you can't please everybody all the time, but we're certainly trying. I'll tell you that. We're certainly trying our hardest to do that.
We are trying. That is very true. Okay. All right. We got, what is it? Stephen S. here coming in with the microfiction.
Gonzalez reads the text from the chief. People aren't buying Operation Speedy Seamstress. They seem to work on their smooching. He considers binging on the old romantic movies is necessary while typing. Top 10 romantic kisses in the search bar. I think I may have had a stroke in the middle of reading that.
Why do you say
This
that?
links to a YouTube. What is this YouTube video?
It's Chris Siliza.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't open it and look. Oh, it is Chris Siliza.
Yeah, I have him up on the screen right now.
That makes
with
it
his
okay.
holding up
Everything
the
makes
huge
sense
X.
now.
Yeah.
Yep. A stroke is averted. Thank you very much, Stephen S. Sorry for that bad read.
All right. Thank you for that, Stephen S. Are you ready for the other one?
Yes, I am.
I believe this is the conclusion of Jones's chapter 3 of the microfiction.
Yep, and I believe he's already sent the next one.
Yep, he did. Okay, here we go.
Bang! The excavator claws beneath Tsubi release a flurry of rocks and ores. Slamming into the drones, one explodes on impact. Its partner recalibrates and reassesses, but then, no longer magnetized, the ton of metal scrap detaches from her ship, battering and slicing into it some more. Turbulence seizes it. It stalls. It just needed to recalibrate. It just needed to recalibrate. It just needed to...
Epic.
Nothing like getting a well-written, extended action scene 3 sentences at a time. Thank you very much, Jones.
Microfictions, man. Thank you, Jones. Appreciate it. That does it for all the producers coming in with their art. We appreciate you. You can go to canarycry.art to submit art if you'd like. There's a little portal there. You can do that. What was the other one? Canarycry.report?
Yes.
Is that where people send in their articles?
Yes, if you have articles you want us to consider for the show, go to canarycry.report. That's the best way to get it in front of us. If you just email it, it'll probably get lost in the email nonsense.
Yeah.
So go do that. Thank you very much, everybody. All right, Gons. Give us the psyop.
PSYOP. It's a big PSYOP, folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so happy to be doing this article. I've been waiting for days to do this. All right, BBC. New planets have flattened shapes like Smarties, study finds. Now, Basil, I read this headline, and I about fell out of my chair. I said, excuse me, BBC? You are saying that planets are in the shape of Smarties? Like a little tiny disc? Or a little tiny...
Yeah, like a hockey puck.
Yeah, like a hockey puck? It's very flat earthish, BBC.
Yeah.
But it
They're
wasn't
waking up.
quite so. I felt lied to. Here's what the article says. New planets formed around stars have flattened shapes similar to Smarties, scientists have found. Researchers at the University of Central Lancashire, UCLan, in Preston, used computer simulations to model the formation of planets. It is the first time scientists have looked at the shape of newborn planets in simulations as they form. Oh, boy.
Great.
Oh, boy.
Love the computer models.
Jeez Louise. Hey, at least
Love
it's
the computer
spitting out some
models.
flat Earth facts, man. They had, quote, always assumed they were spherical. I mean, come on. For them to even admit that, they had, quote, always assumed they were spherical, meaning planets, and were surprised to find they had a similar shape to the sweets. The team used a concept in astrophysics known as, quote, the theory of disk instability, where planets form in short timescales from the breakup of large rotating disks of dense gas and dust orbiting young stars. Dr. Dimitris Stamatelos, reader in astrophysics at UCLan, said it showed young planets were oblate spheroids, spheres squashed from the top and the bottom, but bulging in the middle. Quote, we've been studying planet formation for a long time, but never before had we thought to check the shape of the planets as they form in the simulations, he said. Quote, we had always assumed they were spherical. We were very surprised that they turned out to be oblate spheroids, pretty similar to Smarties, end quote. He said technically no planet was fully spheroid. Jupiter's flattening, for example, was about 6%, while Saturn is 10%, and Earth was almost spherical at just 0.3%, he says. He said young planets were much flatter, and somewhere in the region of 90%. Wow. The team's study, published in the journal Astronomy and Astrophysics Letters, was based on investigating the shapes of young planets and how they grow to become gas giants like Jupiter. They said the findings had important implications, yeah, I'd say, particularly when viewing planets through a telescope, as their shapes would vary depending on the viewing angle. The researchers added that observational confirmation of the flattened shape of young planets could also help answer a key question about how they form. End of article. Now, Basil, I thought Smarties was either the hockey puck thing, like even concaved on each side of this little hockey puck cylinder. At least in America, that's what Smarties are. They come in the little wrapper there. There's about, 12 of them all lined up. They're like little pills almost. So I was like, wow, really? That's what they're talking about? But no, that's not exactly what was being talked about. Apparently, Smarties in the UK, and this is BBC, so this is, UK. Smarties in the UK look more like M&Ms or Skittles. They're, oblate spheroids.
Okay.
So I felt a little bit duped, okay? 'Cause I was like, all right, well, they did like a little American switcheroo there, and, it's more like an M&M or Skittles rather than a hockey puck. Nevertheless, I don't know, kind of a big admission for science to be like, yeah, we always thought it was a sphere, but apparently, nope. Planets are little flat discs or flat little shapes that turn into balls later,
It's just part of, it's more of this kind of matrix stuff. There's a lot of talk about simulation theory. You can add simulation theory, dead internet theory, all these sorts of things together. it's a narrative sickness that
Yes.
people are basing, or scientists or whatever, science communicators or establishments, whatever's the narrative crafters, they've trained everybody to be so receptive to computer models to define reality. Literally just letting computer models, which are created by people, and data is entered by people and can be manipulated by people. Computer models, the idea that we're basing our cosmology on computer models is it's just sad. It's just so sad. Now, I don't know, maybe you've got an undercover flat earther or something over there in the lab, but who knows? I don't know. It reminds me of what's his face? Who's the guy? The black scientist man, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, he talked about how it was like a pear-shaped or something a while ago.
The Earth is a pear.
The Earth is a pear. Yeah, Jupiter's a skittle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's not a sphere apparently.
Yeah.
So all the flat earthers were right, at the very least, that it's not a sphere.
Yeah, well, there you go. I wanted to. Well, let's see. Are we doing this last story?
Let's.
Okay.
I mean, might as well. I mean,
here's the real last story, folks.
Okay,
Don't worry about
right.
your
Settle
Skittle
down.
Earth.
Settle down.
Don't worry about your Skittle
They go hand
Earth.
in hand. They go hand in hand. Okay.
This is
You're either
Antarctica.
eating a pie. We live on a pie, or we live on a Skittle, not a ball.
So a new discovery. Antarctica.
Penguins.
Irate passengers stage on-board protest after cruise secretly changes destination.
Uh-oh.
Watch out, folks. This is something big. Now, remember, Antarctica, it's a messaging planet. It's used by the elites to broadcast their plans for broader society. It represents the great white desert, the social justice utopia promised to all rich white liberals. I just dropped my thing. Hold on. I'm coming back. I can't control anything without my thing. Okay, I'm back. And so what they say about Antarctica is almost more important than anything else. And here we've, of course, opened up in the past couple years. Tourism to Antarctica is huge. It's huge. It's the most important thing in the world. You got to start brainwashing the people who could afford a cruise to Antarctica to accept all sorts of things. Go to Antarctica, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Jimmy Buffett will play a concert, they said. Well, not on this cruise, folks. An Australian on board a 14-day cruise is furious at a secretive change to the itinerary which caught hundreds of passengers off guard. She says the travelers have been scammed by the cruise line and denied the opportunity to visit their dream destination. Oh, apparently Antarctica was their dream destination, folks. Yeah, sure.
I wonder where they would get that idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're rich white liberals. Of course, Antarctica is their dream destination. Melbourne woman Helen Midler was thrilled to finally embark on a trip of a lifetime to Antarctica and around the South America on board the Norwegian Star cruise ship, which departed from Buenos Aires, Argentina on February 4th. But at the last minute, Antarctica was seemingly scrapped from the itinerary, with passengers learning days after boarding they'd be doing a South America round trip instead. Days after boarding, they got on the cruise. Midler took her frustrations to social media, of course, this week and explained that she only found out about the change after checking the app a few days in and noticed the name of the cruise had been changed. Ooh, this is like kidnapping. Passengers were later told it was for operational reasons. After raising their concerns, however, no further explanation was given. The irate passenger claims operational reasons. Those on board were allegedly told the decision was made by the head office in the U.S. to not visit Paradise Bay on mainland Antarctica before departure on January 31st, and that all passengers were notified by email and again at check-in. However, Midler claims this was not the case. Quote, I can assure you that we never got an email, and many of our friends here are on board. And I'm talking hundreds of people we know did not receive an email either, she said in a video posted online. I'm sure
That was
that's
not
what she sounded
exactly
like.
Australian.
Midler said everyone was angry, with hundreds of passengers meeting at 9:30 in the ship's foyer one morning to demand further answers. Yeah, watch out. You tell a bunch of rich white liberals you're going to take them to the utopia of social justice-ness, and then you don't, and you expect to get away with it. The Karens are on the move, Norwegian Cruise Lines. Quote, customer service are refusing to acknowledge us. They sent a security officer out to calm us down, she said, while standing in the noisy crowd. Quote, we feel we are being cheated, being scammed. Midler said, you don't say. You don't say. You took the bait. You took the bait. You took the bait on the trans mountain climbers climbing the thing, the Great White Desert, the gay weddings, and the what are they called? Indigenous, hikers walking across for the first time. All the messaging for years now has been creating a Disneyland, a wonderland for the types of people who are ready to protest if you don't give them their utopia.
That's a nightmare. Protesting on like a boat, like a cruise boat type of thing. There's not a lot of places to go,
No, I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. If I was on that ship and this happened to me, I would certainly take action. Probably not this kind of action, but it takes all types. You got to find a crew member is what you got to do who's susceptible to bribery, and then find a way to make it happen. That's what you do. You don't go out and protest on a boat, because on a boat you are subject to what is it called? Marine law. This is ocean law, baby. You don't get free speech. You don't get to peacefully protest. You're on the boat, baby, and when you're on the boat, the captain does what captain wants. They're gonna throw you in the brig, my friend. You do not mess around with maritime law. They do not respect your rights to peacefully protest. Here's a quote. They think we're idiots. We're not idiots, and we're not prepared to just accept this sitting down, she continued. Quote, we may not get to Antarctica. The chances of this cruise now going to Antarctica are minimal, but we want answers, she said, not knowing a ding-dang thing about maritime law. Another passenger also expressed his frustrations online, admitting, it is so sad, especially as it is so expensive. If they had warned us before we set off, we could have canceled, he said. Prices were $4,000, $13,000, and yada, yada, yada. You get the point. Now they're on a go slow order, which means they go 19 knots to South America and back from Melbourne. And enjoy the brig, lady. Enjoy the brig, lady. You want to get to Antarctica? You do not fall directly into their trap. You got to find your own way. You got to find a science research vessel.
Yeah, you got to get into science. You got to become a TikToker.
Yeah.
There's ways to do this.
It is very interesting, of course, with the phenomenon in 2023, 2024 of TikTokers to Antarctica on cruises. And, it's becoming its own sort of culture. Cruise culture has always been its own culture. Cruise culture, very dear to my heart. I love cruise culture. I love the idea of cruising. I love abandoning all hope and letting maritime law rule your days while you are stuck on a little boat with unlimited sushi buffets and the Blue Man Group. It's a wonderful idea, but you gotta know how to work the system. You do not protest. They are going to bring out the riot police. They are going to blast you with the water cannon. They will round you up and detain you, and they do not have to tell anybody. This is maritime law.
To protest and create a big fuss is exactly what you would do if you're
No way, Jose.
of
I know
the
my
type. Not
I
you.
know
I'm
my
saying
oh,
the
yeah.
people that are doing it. It's the
Yeah.
exact people that were targeted to go
Exactly. The
expend
boat
all
was
their life
asking for this.
savings. Yeah.
I call PSYOP. I call
Yeah.
PSYOP. This is part of the Antarctica PSYOP. It's hard to explain in one session here, but go back, watch our 600 Antarctica updates, and it's all been leading to this moment. These rich white liberals, they were lured by the promise of social justice utopia, and then they were it was snatched away from them in some sort of sick social engineering experiment. This is an experiment with which their responses will be sort of recorded and data tracked, and they will be using what they learn here when they are, when it's not Norwegian cruise ships, it's the prison ships bringing the white people down to Antarctica. That's
yeah,
what it's gonna be.
to tie this all together with the prior story, because with the flat Earth model, the Antarctica is the ice wall, right? You had mentioned how Tim Pool was ranting and raving about how anyone can go. You love Tim Pool, so you got every insight on Tim Pool.
Stop it! It was strange though. Yes, the topic of Antarctica came up on Tim Pool recently, and he's very kind of that's the thing. He's very grumpy when it comes to like conspiracy theories, and he was somebody told him that like you can't go to Antarctica because the government will turn you around, or there's like restricted areas, and he was very grumpy about this idea. But this just literally happened. Why did this boat not get to go? Operational reasons? What does that mean? I think that there was
a part of the ice wall came down. They couldn't let the people see that.
There was a breach
see outside the firmament. Yeah,
there's a breach in the shimmer, right? And demons were coming through the firmament from the outer waters, and they had to turn the boat around. They couldn't. They couldn't bring anybody close.
Yeah. So this lady, while she's protesting, she doesn't realize that they saved your lives. You would have had a run-in with a Nephilim penguin that may have ended you and all the people on board.
You would have been taken capture, had your life force drained by a Nephilim penguin. Yeah. Psycho Not Casual, fun. Psycho Not Casual in the Rumble chat says, I got a job with Norwegian Cruises. Works on the Hawaii one. Okay, see, this is what you do, folks. If you want to get what you want in maritime law, you do a podcast and wait until a cruise line crew member is part of your audience. Then you got someone to work with. Psycho Not Casual is the one I got to talk to get this boat going to Antarctica. See, this is how you do it, folks. You do not protest like you're some sort of New Yorker or some sort of Martha's Vineyard person not wanting immigrants. Yeah.
And Antarctica schedule changes.
Exactly. You got to go with the flow, folks. That's maritime law from your buddy Basil. Go with the flow. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Nice long one here for you long show heads out there. Really appreciate you. And remember, this show is only possible because of the value for value model. Whether it's time, whether it's treasure, whether it's talent, or any of those three things listed in a different order, no matter how you want to put value back into the show, remember it's the only way that this show continues. And again, canarycry.tube to learn all about our very real, what's the word? Existential problems. The show is having some existential issues right now. You can learn about them at canarycry.tube, learn how to help out. And again, this is an opportunity for a certain group of people who have never been able to participate in one of our sort of missions like this before. This is your time. This is your moment. Answer the call if the Lord is calling you to it. If he's not, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm just going to have to trust that the right people hear this, the right people understand it, and the right people follow the unction of the Holy Spirit to get involved, because the show truly would not exist if it were not 4 people answering that call. But remember, you can keep the show going with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Go to canarycry.support to learn more. And there's a very special group of people I'd like to thank, and that's the people who help out with their time. And I'm going to start with the timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
Yep, they timestamp the show. Oftentimes they're doing it live. It goes into so much. Every single listener in the thrall of my voice right now has benefited, whether they realize it or not, from the endless, tireless work of the timestampers. And I want to thank timestampers for doing episode 713. Do we have the name of that beautiful helper, Gons?
Is Jade Bouncerson.
Thank you very much, Jade Bouncerson, for your timestamp help. It means a whole bunch. And remember, folks, if you want to get involved, if you don't know how to get involved, but you just want to be involved, it's 2024. This is our last chance. And so we might as well get involved with something that we care about that brings value to our lives and, play some sort of role in it existing into the future. Now is the time. There is no other time. Go to canarycry.support and scroll all the way down to the bottom of that page. You'll see a form. Fill out that form and send it in. Somebody will reach out to you. We will put you to work, baby. Thank you very much for that. Other than that, I want to thank Clank for clanking. I want to thank Jam for the links, everybody who went to canarycry.report. And most of all, thank you for sharing the show, especially in our new locations. We're no longer on YouTube. Please continue to share the show. You can be like the person who shared the show with producer Josie Wales, a family member, rattling Josie's cage, coming in, getting demooched. It's a beautiful thing. It's a family affair. Share the show on your social media. It kind of makes me sad. Once in a while, I will sort of just search the social medias for our stuff, and then it's very difficult to find, and people tell us that they are sharing the show on social media, but then, I go looking for it and I can't find it, and I'm like, oh, of course, we're like super shadow banned across the place. Like, we're not going to be able to just search for our stuff and have it pop up. That's not going to work. But more than anything, word of mouth is the best way to share shows, share podcasts rather, because it is natural, it is grassroots, it is people coming together to create value in this world that the corporations refuse to do. And you can share it in whatever way you want, but you can also do it in kind of a unique way. Maybe just go find some sort of war criminal. I don't know. I don't care which one. War criminal, dictator, Joe Biden, somebody. Go find them, interview them, set the mainstream news on fire, and make sure to include in your sign-off on that history-making, groundbreaking interview, that you're here with Canary Cry News Talk, and think outside the cage. That's the best way to do it. You don't got to do it that way. You can do it whatever way you want. We call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gons, any last words?
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you on Wednesday. Wednesday is, it's Dr. Michael Heiser's birthday.
Oh,
the late
nice.
Dr. Michael Heiser's birthday. It is also the day YouTube was founded.
Oh.
It is. It's also Valentine's Day.
Oh boy.
And it's Ash Wednesday. It's all those things.
That's a big day. Oh
yeah.
Boy. Okay.
So Wednesday will be fun.
There's going to be some big news on Wednesday, folks, so make sure to tune in then. Okay. Remember, canarycry.tube, canarycry.tube, canarycry.tube. It's it. We need it. This is existential. Please help us. Go there, canarycry.tube. Read the thing. Figure it out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time, but until then, Think outside the cage.
Remember, reality.
Whoops.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths. Give me a break. I love the Great Reset. Toilets! Feed him more.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Then Fetterman says that
the joke is on you. I had a stroke. I can't fully understand what you're saying. I had a stroke. I can't fully understand what you're saying.
the man is eventually escorted out by police as he tells the senator to go home.
Do I like the robots? Do I not like the robots? Do I like the robots? Do I not like the robots? Capturing space debris, cleaning it up, enforcing things like this. And so I thought to myself, surely they will talk about Flippy, the robotic arm, who is now sort of charged with cleaning up suborbital satellites. But no.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
But no. Yeah. So see the idea here. I know, folks, it gets confusing. Do I like the robots? Do I not like the robots? It's all part of the plan. Part of the plan. You gotta keep them guessing. Yeah. Keep your enemies confused. But no.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
Do I like the robots? Do I not like the robots? Collision risk. Do I like the robots? Talk about how I like the robots. Graveyard orbit.
I got hairy legs that turn, that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down. I got hairy legs. You see what he recently said about he wants to see the economy crash this year? Soft spot for riders. The sitting president. The same I think, bless me, Father, for I mean, come on, man. He wants to eat it. The same I think, bless me, president. Come on, man. Come on, man. Economy, come on, man. Soft spot for riders. I got hairy legs. You see what he recently said about he wants to see the economy crash this year? Soft spot for riders. Sitting president. The same I think, bless me, Father, for I mean, come on, man. I got hairy legs.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary cried, that's support.